man, what's going on, everybody? We are back. Hope you didn't miss us. I hope the little hiatus there wasn't too long for you, but we have returned. Go Spurs! Back for another edition of Conscious Approach on YouTube. Thanks to everybody out there for checking us out. So yeah, man, I had a couple of days in DC last week doing a little bit of work, research and development type stuff, but back in the saddle and we're gonna get things kicked off, man. So thanks to everybody for checking us out as always. Thanks to everybody who has been subscribing to the channel. Thanks to everybody who's watching the videos. Thanks to everybody in general who appreciates the content. Because as always, whether you agree or disagree, you can have appreciation for the content nonetheless. You don't necessarily have to agree with something in order to get some kind of a value out of it. So if you get value out of what we're doing, man, we're doing this for you, and we certainly appreciate the support as we continue to rock and roll. Now, we're going to go ahead and get things kicked off, and first thing that we are going to get into is a newcomer to the channel, Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan, the guy who directed the Dark Knight trilogy, the guy who directed Interstellar. What's a couple more of these movies? Oppenheimer. He's getting ready to release The Odyssey, which is hotly anticipated. People are going mad because they cast a black woman as Helena Troy, so people are mad. But Christopher Nolan, he was on 60 Minutes last week, and they got into some of his habits, some of the things that he does personally, some of his personal preferences and ways that he likes to live his life. And one of the things that he said that was interesting, was of note, kind of went viral, is the fact that he does not use a smartphone. He's never used a smartphone, nor does he use email. He receives, according to him, paper email, and he uses a flip phone. He has used a flip phone for his entire adult life, I believe. He's never used a smartphone, although he does agree that as time progresses, it is becoming increasingly more difficult to continue to live this way. He claims that it's getting harder and harder and harder. One of the things that he cites as a reason to why it's getting harder and harder is the defiant return of the QR code. Oddly enough, he says one of the things that kind of made him feel as though he might have to pivot from this chosen lifestyle is the fact that the QR code made such a huge comeback. So we're going to get into this because I thought it was interesting. This says Christopher Nolan on not having a smartphone, email, it's getting harder. Christopher Nolan still doesn't have a smartphone or email address, although technology advancements are pushing him to upgrade his lifestyle. The Odyssey director was a guest on the May 18th episode of 60 Minutes, where he fessed up to news journalist Scott Pelley about not having used either. Nolan told Pelley that he has no interest in sending emails online, but receives a lot of printed emails in person. Nolan added that although he's never had a smartphone, it's become harder and harder to live without one. Let's see. Nolan also shared that he keeps it old school and uses a flip phone while traveling. When Pelley asked if the director intentionally keeps the world at an appropriate distance through his few methods of communication, Nolan shared that he's simply living the way we all used to live. So here's Christopher Nolan during this segment on 60 Minutes. So check this out.
You don't do email?
I do not. I never have.
And why not?
No interest.
Do you get letters? I mean, you postal letters with stamps on them?
I get a lot of printed emails where people are like, "You got to take a look at this."
All right.
But no, I have just never been particularly interested in that as a form of communication.
No smartphone.
No, I've never had a smartphone. It's getting harder and harder.
Mm-hmm.
The return of the QR code has been quite tricky.
Ah.
QR code had sort of gone away, but
Mm-hmm.
COVID brought it back, and now it's kind of everywhere. And if you don't have a smartphone, you can't do much with the QR code. So I carry a flip phone when I travel.
Is this a way, and I don't mean this in a pejorative sense of any kind, actually in a very complimentary sense, is this a way of keeping the world at a appropriate distance and not letting it cave in on you like the rest of us do in the digital world?
I mean, I think it's more a thing of I haven't let the rest of the world cave in on me. I'm just living the same way that we all used to. So, to me, it's just life as normal.
And I envy you deeply.
Most people do, which says something about where this has all gone, which is not good. Yeah, I feel very fortunate to not be wearing the digital shackles, but such is life.
All right. So he's very, very fortunate to not be wearing the digital shackles. Let's see. Last year, the Odyssey star Tom Holland revealed that the film's cast. Okay, so not much of that is very relevant. So there you go. There's Mr. Christopher Nolan. The Dark Knight, as well as The Dark Knight Rises. Two damn good movies, if I must say so. As well, most of the stuff that he's done has been pretty good. And that's coming from somebody who tends to by default think everything sucks. So, I have admired the movies that he's done. But what do you think about this admission on his part? He carries a flip phone. He receives printed emails. He feels very fortunate to not be weighed down by the digital shackles in the way that the rest of us are.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you said as far as, that's a fortunate thing to be able to say. It's a privileged thing to be able to say. You don't have to have an email, but it makes life difficult. Just trying to navigate things, sign up for stuff, be a part of things, looking for a job. So it's like it's like a gatekeeping kind of thing when you're in a position where you're in a rat race. You got to have one. I mean, for years, man, I didn't like having bank accounts. I didn't feel like I need one. If I had a job and a card that the money can be direct deposited on, that was my bank account. Like I didn't feel like I needed a formal one. But as I started to get inside of things and started to do stuff, and I wanted to expand my versatilities, diversify my life, if you will. It started to become a hindrance that I just had this trap card. So I was like, bro, you got to get a real account, man. So I had to get a real bank account. So it's kind of like one of those things, man. But if you're, Christopher Nolan, Oscar award-winning director, you can, you know what I'm saying? You can sit atop of a castle like a griffin and peer down at the peasants that got emails. Such as life, he says. Hey, man, good for you, bro. But everybody can't do this. You know what I'm saying? Now you can. You can grab your Jesus sandals and your Moses staff and start, trying to wade the waters of life like that. But you're off the grid, man. You're no different than the hipster living in a van, So it's like, which side of the life you want to live on? So if you're just a part of this mass rat race that is going on, man, you kind of don't really have a choice. You got a choice, but you're making your life difficult. And so you're just going to have to do various things. I'm sure you can go somewhere and you say, I don't have an email. Okay, well, fill out this form. Hey, man, I ain't got it. Well, then do that. So if you want to do all of that, fine, man. But I'd rather just deal with the junk email and just call it a day, man. But hey, I wish I didn't need one, to be honest. But what are your thoughts, bro, on Sir Christopher Nolan saying, hey, man, I don't need an email address or a smartphone? What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, he's speaking from a position of privilege. As you said, you can choose to not have email, and you're going to be met with having to do things manually, clerically, which does, I agree, make your life more difficult. But something tells me he's also in the position to have people do these things for him.
Yep.
So it isn't as though he's actually doing the things himself. I don't think he's applying for his loans himself. I'm pretty sure he has his accountants or his money team doing that for him. I'm pretty sure he's not scheduling his own appearances. I'm pretty sure he has publicists or PR people who do that for him. I'm pretty sure he's not, applying for anything. or making his own schedule, because I'm pretty sure he has individuals whom he employs to do these things for him. So while I understand the spirit of the message in which he's coming from, because we all do need to be less shackled by modern technology, he nevertheless speaks from a position of privilege, because I doubt in his privileged position he's actually doing any of these things himself. So it's kind of a situation in which it's easy for him to say that. But here's where I will say I kind of understand where he's coming from, and you have to compartmentalize it based upon what you're talking about contextually. When I was at one point I was seeing a behavioral psychologist through my health insurance because I was having trouble sleeping. So my doctor didn't, doctors these days prescribing meds is the last resort. They don't want to do it. They will exhaust every option before they pull out that pad and write you a prescription for something. So my doctor was like trying to help me figure out why I can't sleep at night. So, she was like, is it psychological? Is it mental? Like, do you feel anything physically? Like, what are some of the things that you feel are triggering you to keep you from sleeping? And we basically drew a conclusion that a lot of it was mental, psychological, like my mind. I couldn't get my mind to turn off. So her recommendation was, okay, well, why don't you, go and see our therapist that we have here on staff? Maybe you can help unravel some of this stuff and figure out what it is that you need to do to help be able to sleep better at night. And during one of the sessions that I was having with this therapist, she, I was telling her about some of the things that go on in my head that I can't get off of it, like constantly. My mind is just always toiling and turning. I can't switch it off. And she told me about these group of kids out of New York, I think. I forget the name of the group. But she said that there's this community based out of New York of these young kids, these teenagers, who essentially are rebuking technology because they believe that it isn't worth the price to pay for some of the detrimental personal ways that it can impact you in terms of how it can impact your social development, how it can foster certain non-ideal characteristics like narcissistic personality disorder, for example. And so what these kids are doing in order to stay away from that was they swore off social media. There's a group of kids that formed this group that were just like, we're not going to do social media anymore. But of course, if you own a smartphone, it's kind of difficult to completely stay away from it. I mean, yeah, you can abstain from downloading the apps, but even if you're on the internet on your smartphone, one way or another, you're going to encounter some kind of a viral content. You're going to encounter some kind of an ad being targeted to you that's going to entice you to want to download this and do this kind of stuff. So their solution was, okay, we're all going to carry smart flip phones. So you got this group of teenagers who only use flip phones. And the reason why is because one of the ways that they can mitigate some of what they perceive to be a few of the harmful ways that social media can impact a human being in terms of their psyche and their overall development is to not even encounter it by going old school and carry around Nokia flip phones. So contextually, if we're talking about that kind of stuff, right, where it's like, how can we live a life in which we can try the best possible way that we can to be more grounded in our existence and not let some of this stuff overwhelm us the way we are clearly seeing it overwhelm a large portion of our population. Okay, well, let's try to mitigate some of that by carrying flip phones around, for example. I can understand that part of it. If you want to be able to give yourself the best possible chance of developing adequate social skills, or you want to be able to meet other people off the grid, as you like to say, maybe one of the best ways that you can do that is to, limit the ways in which you make connections through phones and through technology and through apps. And what better way to do that than to not carry the smartphone at all, but to just actually use a flip phone so that you can be out in the daylight touching grass. So from that kind of a perspective, I can understand the idea, and I do admire people who are able to do that. But just in a general sense, in terms of like maximizing your efficiency and being the most productive that you can be in terms of getting stuff done and being the most organized and being the least chaotic that you can be, on a day-to-day basis in terms of handling tasks or managing errands and accomplishing things. I think a person who is in his position is the only kind of person who can sit up there and say, no, I don't use a smartphone. No, I don't walk around with emails. Because you have people who are probably doing a lot of these things for you. But for the majority of the rest of us who have to live in the muck until we're able to self-actualize, it does make your life more difficult. And you're not actually going to be free by making things unreasonably more difficult than they have to be. So I hear where you're coming from on that. But I do think the spirit of that message does have its place depending on the context.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So, I mean, there's two sides to everything. So the first side was, yeah, bro, like, nice for you to say. Yeah, and the flip side of that is what you just mentioned is like the spirit of what he's saying. Like, even if you have a smartphone, that don't mean you need to use it. Just because you have a social media account, don't mean you have to click it. And one of the things that people have been struggling with, I would like to say, is, self-control.
Yeah, discipline.
Yeah, discipline.
Yeah.
And so you can have a smartphone, just don't use it. If you know it's causing radiation when you're charging it, charge it somewhere in the corner and walk the hell away. If you know these social media apps are a form of brain rot, but you like to be tapped in at sometimes, or, you got a social circle that send you stuff, so you don't want to be rude or out of the loop. Like this, there's so many various ways that this can go. It's a spectrum. So, all things in life require a balance. So if you manage that, if you manage your social media intake, you manage your emailing. I don't even like emails. I dread opening my emails, bro, because I don't give a damn. I'm with him, bro. I wish I could just throw that notion. But hey, man, it is what it is. I'm here and I comply. But for the most part, man, it just comes down to a form of self-discipline. But what makes people even want to do that? Do people even know they need to do that? I'm pretty sure they hear stuff over here, stuff over there. And even in some of these apps, TikTok, and others, they have this awareness thing that, hey, man, you've been on this app for 5 hours this week, and it's whatever you decide to do with that, So some people might go, damn, 5 hours? I thought I was on here more than that. I can consume more. And some people might go, 5 hours? Damn, bro, I need to get a life.
Mm-hmm.
So where that decision point gets made at is based on factors outside of social media. And so people that have addictive personalities or coping mechanisms that they feel like they need to binge on certain things, those are the things that play into it. So, yeah, on one hand, I can sit here and go, yeah, bro, like, easy for you to say. And then, on the flip side of that, people still have the power in their hands to use it as they need to, but they don't need to, overly indulge. So where's that threshold cut off at? It varies for every person. Does everybody know they need to do that? No, they don't, as far as having a balance. Does the conversation need to be had more? Yeah, it's out there, but people choose to ignore it.
Right.
So, all in all, man, it's just, what do you want? What are you trying to preserve? And so that's a good anecdotal story you brought up with the kids in New York. And they're kids. They're supposed to be the ones that's immersed in this the most.
Yeah.
And they're the ones rebelling. So, yeah, should more people do that? I don't know, man. To each their own, bro. So, but I do agree that I have my own thresholds. I cross them. But at least I got something to try to regulate myself, or going, hey, man, I haven't been in my phone all day. I'll say to myself, I haven't been in my phone all day. And then I have this conversation of, well, you didn't need to.
Mm-hmm.
So just calm down, bro. You'll catch yourself back up later or whatever, bro. But enjoy this time right now. So, yeah, man. So, but overall, I do get the spirit of the message is that, you don't want to be engulfed by this technology. You don't want it to consume you so much that it has become you. It is your personality. If that phone does die and you picking up a dead phone, trying to turn it on,
Yeah.
It was like, damn, man. Oh, I forgot it was dead. And it was like, damn, bro, you check this every 2 seconds? Yeah, you do. So you might need to check that. So all in all, man, the world is moving more and more aggressively towards integration with technology. It's like if you don't have it, you don't have a life. So, but you can still balance it, and you can just do what you need to do, sign in, sign out, and go enjoy real life and touch real grass. So, yeah, man, I hear his point, man, but don't such his life me, bro. That was the part about it.
Yeah.
Think
yeah. There was some condescension in there. But and the whole thing with me is, and they didn't get too deep into it, at least not in that clip. But I wish that they would have gone a little further to contextualize the myriad of ways in which he's able to sidestep a lot of this. Because does he approach this from a philosophical standpoint, or does he approach it from a literal practical standpoint? Because if it's practical, then at that point I'm like, okay, bro, well, the only reason why you're able to do this is because you're successful enough to where you have people who can do life for you. But if it is from a philosophical standpoint, I would like to know, okay, what are some of the ideals and principles that he believes in, which compels him to want to live a life in which he's not using a smartphone or email? I'd be fascinated to learn what that is for him. Because for me, and you hit the nail on the head, I think the root of this is discipline. And we've, through various different kinds of conversations, we've brought up the notion of personal responsibility and discipline on this channel. And discipline is something, discipline is one of those things that I personally have come to identify as a learned skill, right? I think intrinsically we kind of believe that discipline is this innate ability that all people have. And I used to believe that, but as I've gotten older, I no longer think that. I think discipline is a skill that needs to be developed. And if it isn't developed, you can be atrophied. And as an adult, you don't possess the requisite qualities needed to be able to employ that skill. And if you don't have the skill of discipline, you literally don't have the ability to know when is the cutoff. Like if you never develop the skill of discipline, you don't know when is too many hours on the phone. You don't know when to tell that you can't just leave it over there in the corner and walk away. You don't know how many hours on social media is too many. You don't know because you just didn't develop that level of discernment to be able to tell the difference between reasonable and too much. And a lot of people do live life, I believe, devoid of that core skill of discipline. It is not an innate ability. Do I think all people have the capacity to develop the skill? I do. But do all people develop the skill? Absolutely not. I'm firmly convinced. I mean, we go through topic after topic on this channel on a weekly basis, where for me, it boils down to, if this individual was more disciplined, this probably would not have happened, or vice versa. So I definitely agree, that it is a matter of like how you're living your life. What are some of your priorities? What do you take inventory on? And do you have the requisite level of discipline to know when too much is enough and to know when to set the boundaries for yourself? And if you've been growing up in a world that's essentially telling you there is no need for discipline and there is no need for boundaries, no such thing needs to exist, which is what is implicitly imparted whenever there's this idea in your mind that you have to be plugged in with this stuff 24/7, then at that point you have no incentive whatsoever to learn the value of being disciplined enough to get away from it. So to me, that's what it boils down to. I mean, we can lament all the issues with the world and how ubiquitous all this stuff is, but at the end of the day, individuals have always and will always have the ability to live life in the way that they want to. Every individual has the capacity for a paradigm shift, everybody. And so at the end of the day, I'm always going to harp on individual responsibility and accountability. If you don't want to be plugged in like this, you don't have to be. Be disciplined enough to know when's the line, to know where the line is. But most of us don't know where that line is. And so that's when you get what you got. But yeah, kudos to those kids, man. I'm going to look that up because the group did have a name. And I just forget what she told me the name of it was. And I hope that they're still in existence, because that's a pretty cool thing for young people to be able to understand the importance of. Maybe they can set an example for some of us adults around here. But I mean, discipline is the moral of the story, bro. The world is going to do what it does. At the end of the day, we can't stop this stuff. Like, there's going to be more apps. There's going to be more social media platforms. There's going to be more temptation. There's going to be more vices. There's going to be more spend your money on this, spend your time on that. These things never stop. What makes them more effective is the increasing amount of people who lack the discipline to be able to take these things in with some requisite level of discernment. That's the part with this that's missing. People are just consuming and consuming and consuming and indulging and indulging and indulging. And if that's the extreme that we're looking at, maybe people have to walk around with flip phones, because we can't be held responsible to do things in moderation.
Yeah, man. And to address the philosophical thing, I mean, he's not going to do. I'm surprised he even did an interview. I'm sure he does other ones, but I never really seen the guy talk.
Right.
Barely knew how he looked. So, that's part of it. I guess that's also a part of his off the grid nature. But I would also say that I'm sure it's a bit of both. It's the practical side and a philosophical side, and he's not going to tell us either one. So, I don't take him for a person to divulge much information on that thing. And he's a screenwriter, man, or a director. So he knows how to communicate through all kinds of like avenues. I mean, even that sip of the drink at the end, bro, he didn't have to do that, bro. He acting cinematic during the interview. And
maybe he was thirsty.
Nice. There's plenty of thirsty people in interviews, man, but they don't say such as life. I don't care if you're British or whatever, bro. It's to add to his mystique for sure. But yeah, man, even if there is like celebrities that have philosophical stances, they rarely speak. I would say, at least I really don't hear it as much. I mean, they do it, but you don't want to do too much philosophizing, because you could isolate yourself, or you could whatever. So I think the way that he handled this is how he would handle this. It's just like, hey man, nah, I don't do it. You're the one asking me. I don't do it. I don't see the need of it. Blah 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 blah. And yeah, man, let's move on. So I don't take him for the talking type. So it would be interesting to know though, but I think it's actually probably a bit of both, that he sees that, I don't like it, so let me pay people. And then also I see what it does to people, and I don't want that.
Yeah.
So
yeah. See, that's the thing with me, man. I couldn't be the interviewer on this stuff, because I'll prod people. Like, unless you tell me that here are certain questions you cannot ask, or this is as far as we're willing to go with this. If you don't preface that before we start, I'm gonna get in you. So it's probably good that I didn't fall into that line of work, because I would definitely press the issue for sure, just because I think it's interesting. But yeah, I mean, I don't blame him if he was like no comment, because unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, we do live in a world where you can't really totally freely express yourself unless you're willing to compromise stuff. So it is what it is. But we'll see if he espouses any more opinions. But for now, interesting stuff. Would like to get into that a little further with him, but my guess is, much like you, he probably won't go any further than that, at least not anytime soon.
Yeah. Hey man, but shout out to Christopher Nolan, man. He made some good films. So in the day and age where the art is completely falling apart, it is, man. He holds his own. It could be better, but he still does exceptional work compared to everybody else. So shout out to him, man, to just keep it going, bro.
Yeah, he does good stuff, man. He does. I have not seen Oppenheimer still. who knows? Maybe one day I'll sit down. I just don't have 3 hours to watch a movie. I don't. But kudos.
I watched it. It was done well. It was done well. He knows what he's doing. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a bad movie from him. At worst, it's been like good. I've never seen anything bad. And we move along to Jeff Bezos, who has ideas about taxation. Jeff Bezos believes that lower earning people should pay zero taxes. And he believes that people who earn more should pay the taxes. But, why should you be somebody who's making $75,000 a year and pay taxes like that? You should be paying nothing to the federal government. Everything should be kept so that you can afford the cost of living. So the richest guy I think he's like the second richest in the world, because I think Musk is the richest in the world. But this guy's like 2 or 3, somewhere around there. But this went pretty viral because, anytime you tell people that they can say that they can keep a little more money in their pocket, they're going to go dumb with that news. So this says Jeff Bezos says bottom 50% should pay zero income tax. Amazon executive chairman Jeff Bezos is drawing fresh attention after saying the bottom half of U.S. earners should pay no federal income tax at all. Speaking to CNBC's Squawk Box, Bezos argued that lower earning Americans contribute such a small share of federal income tax revenue that the government should stop collecting it from them entirely. Bezos, whose net worth is estimated at roughly $269 billion by Forbes, pointed to workers facing rising costs as the reason for the change. He offered the example of a healthcare worker earning $75,000 a year. The comments fall in the middle of a broader tax debate over who pays, who benefits, and whether the current system actually reflects the pressure on working households. According to Tax Foundation data cited by CNBC, the bottom half of taxpayers had adjusted gross income of nearly $54,000 in 2023 and paid an average of $913 in federal income taxes. The top 1%, meanwhile, earned at least $676,000 and paid about 38 to 40% of all federal income tax revenue. Bezos' remarks also come amid Amazon's continued role in the broader conversation about corporate labor, power, and wealth. Earlier this month, Amazon labor union co-founder Chris Smalls was arrested outside the Met Gala. We talked about that a couple weeks ago after protesting near the event, which Bezos and Lauren Sanchez Bezos helped sponsor. The protest tapped into ongoing criticism of billionaire influence and Amazon's labor practices, even as the union later said Smalls' actions was not connected to its official organizing work. So blah, 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 blah. So here is Jeff Bezos talking about how working class people should pay zero taxes.
So next, do you have a plan? I have some ideas. I have some places to start. So, I started thinking about this and doing some research. A nurse in Queens who makes $75,000 a year pays more than $12,000 a year in taxes. Does that really make sense? So people talk about, making the tax system more progressive. How about we start by having the nurse in Queens not pay taxes? Why is a nurse in Queens who makes $75,000 a year paying more than $1,000 a month in taxes? That's $1,000 a month that could help with rent or groceries or anything. And so, and by the way, do you know what that all adds up to? The bottom half of income earners in this country pay only 3% of the taxes. So, it's only 3%. We can find 3%. So we don't have, it's a small amount of money for the government, that. And really, the more I thought about it, to me, it's kind of absurd that we're doing this. We shouldn't be asking this nurse in Queens to send money to Washington. They should be sending her an apology. It really makes no sense.
Okay, but then on the other end, the question is, should you be paying higher taxes to pay for the 3% component part of this that you think is going to need to be paid for, if not more than that, given the debts we have?
it's certainly a perfectly valid policy debate to say, do we want an even more progressive tax system? So, the line that gets quoted all the time is, the wealthy should pay their fair share.
Right.
And we can argue about what the fair share is. That's a policy debate. That's okay. But the vilification is the thing that's just the distraction. And by the way, if you really are being honest about it, we don't have a revenue problem in this country. We already have the most progressive tax system in the world. The top 1% of taxpayers pay 40% of all the tax revenue. The bottom half pay only 3%. We have already, and I think it should be zero. I don't think it should be 3%. I think it should be zero. So we'd be making it more progressive that way. We actually have a spending problem, and that's a skills issue. I mean, let me give you an example. The New York City school system. They spend $44,000 per student. 44,000. That's 30% more per student than other big cities like Chicago, LA, and Boston. And it's 3 times more than Miami and Houston. And by the way, New York City doesn't get better outcomes. So listen, let me just say, if we ran Amazon the way New York City runs their school system, your packages would take 6 weeks to arrive. We'd have to charge you a $100 delivery fee. And then when the package did finally arrive, it'd have the wrong item in it anyway. We can't, that's a skills issue, Andrew. It's not about, it's just competence.
All right. So, what do you make of that soliloquy there, that diatribe about?
Come on, man. Hey, man, if you got all the answers, Mr. Bezos, why don't you run for office, man? The cherry picking the nurse from Queens. I mean, that's straight out of the I'm running for a campaign playbook. They always like to talk about the middle class, anecdotal, a teacher, mother of 2.
Working class Americans,
yeah, man. Give me a break, man. So I'll meet him where he's at. But I found that funny. But listen, the only thing that comes to mind with this is that he's a businessman. And that bottom 50% need to keep buying from Amazon. And he's noticing that there's a difference in spending behavior. They run their own metrics and analytics. I mean, he allegedly sends Gail King into outer space, so I'm pretty sure he has top level engineers that can run analytics and realize that, hey, since the start of 2023, let's say, for instance, our numbers are down 6% across the board. People are spending less, and they're spending less because their money is tighter. So somebody that is earning $75,000 a year and they're being taxed $12,000, if we give that person $12,000 back, they're buying back from me. So then when he flipped it and said, hey man, so what are you going to do about that 3% you're talking about? Are you willing to pay more taxes? Now that's a policy situation. You're talking policy when it comes to the bottom 50. Now all of a sudden, when it's the top 50, is policy. So at this point, him, putting on his cape, swinging to the defense of the bottom 50%, it sounds good, man. But as soon as the rational question comes up of, okay, well, who's going to pick this up? The government ain't just going to drop it. So what you going to do about it? Then he doesn't have an answer. So if this guy was really looking out for the betterment of the bottom 50%, I feel like he would have answered that question genuinely. But the fact that he, put on skates and started, you know what I'm saying? What do you call that? Just bopping down the damn skating ring instead of answering a question, to me tells me what his intent was. And it was all personal. And I think he wants people to have more money so they can give him more money, not strictly through Amazon, but through other things I'm sure that he has going. But the more people are losing their disposable income, the less money that he can eat off of. So, brilliant strategy. But I'm with him. Stop taxing me, bro. Stop taxing me, bro. I might buy more stuff on Amazon. But what are your thoughts, man, on Jeff Bezos saying that, hey, man, the bottom 50% should not have to pay any taxes? Do you agree, sir?
Yeah, the nurse in Queens that earns $75,000 a year. That's his Kamala Harris bringing Megan Thee Stallion out to
the pop from behind.
Yeah, that's his version of Kamala Harris bringing Megan Thee Stallion out to rap at a rally. He's trying to appeal to that voter base, which is smartfully done.
Mm-hmm.
The irony of what he said when he's like, we don't have, what did he say? We don't have a income problem, a tax problem. We have a skills issue because he said we have a spending problem, which is a skills issue.
Mm-hmm.
The irony of that is, and this is where I come to agree with you, if people have more disposable income, theoretically they have more money to spend on Amazon. So if the net result is more spending on Amazon, doesn't that feed into his idea that he's taking advantage of the problem of people spending? If that truly is the issue, if it's a skills issue with people not knowing how to spend properly, but they have more disposable income, therefore they spend more on Amazon, then at that point, are you not benefiting from said problem of the skills issue with people spending too much money on stuff?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I think that's something that's worth pondering. But moreover, I've heard this throughout my entire life. People who earn more money should pay more taxes. The rich should pay their fair share. Blah, blah, blah. That's been a thing that I've heard ever since I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
And for the majority of my adult life, I've believed it. But I've come to start rethinking that because I don't really know what good it does. And maybe this is the the latent Republican coming out in me as I've gotten older and I've become more fiscally conservative. But I've been around long enough to see how federal government spending taxpayers' money on certain things like entitlement programs, for example, don't actually solve the problem of what these programs are meant to solve. Whether it's Section 8, whether it's food stamps, whether it's affordable housing, these are all various programs that are put in place that are meant to help people bide time and resources until they can remove themselves from their environment and progress into being in a more heightened state of living.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that what the research and the science over the last 60, 70, 80 years is showing us is that none of that is actually working, and that all these programs are doing is keeping people in the same places. And so for me, somebody who does care about people genuinely doing better in life, I feel like if that's not functioning in the way that it was intended, we shouldn't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I'm getting older and I'm starting to make more money myself, hence I'm starting to get taxed more, I've now started to rethink this whole thing. And I've said to myself, well, maybe it would be better if I retain more of what I earn so that I can figure out how to best distribute it to help society in the ways that I think are the most impactful. Now, a lot of people are going to disagree with that, and I can understand that because a lot of people are going to do whatever they want, and ain't all of it going to be about helping people. So I totally get that. It's a catch-22 type situation. I understand the theory behind taxing people, especially people who make more money. I understand what it means in theory, but in practice, at damn near 40 years old, I am not seeing any of these publicly funded government programs actually helping people rise. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I am pretty sure that it is a small portion statistically of the individuals who fall into those buckets, who utilize a lot of these resources, and within 6 months to a year, no longer have to utilize those resources. The vast majority of everybody else is languishing in these resources for life suckling from the teat of the taxpayer's dollar.
Mhm.
So if that ain't working, if you believe people should be doing better, which I personally do, I personally think that everybody should try to strive to improve and do better. And if the mechanisms in place that are meant to achieve that aren't working, maybe we should rethink that. Does that mean tax Jeff Bezos, who makes $265 billion a year, less? Because in theory, he'd have more money to create programs that can help people. If you believe that that's something that he would do, then yes, that's what that means. But if you're a cynic and you believe that he's just going to keep the money for himself or find other ways to skirt the system so that he can benefit more than everybody else, which I get, I understand that perspective as well, then of course the idea of taxing them less doesn't make sense. But I do know that what's currently going on ain't working. I do know that.
Mhm.
It ain't working. People ain't doing better, and the wealth gap continues to get wider. If you're not learning some of these future-proof market skills that can make you viable in future economies, you're eventually going to die off. And where are a lot of these taxpayer dollars that are funding a lot of this stuff supposed to help stave that off? Some of it is, but from what I see, a lot of what's helping stave that off is private money. So I do think something needs to give, because some with this tax system ain't working. It's broke. It don't work. All it does is create more spenders, in my opinion.
Mhm.
It creates more spenders. So if the problem is a spending issue, as he posits, continuing to tax everybody doesn't seem to be fixing that. So, you know what I'm saying? I hear where he's coming from that standpoint. That's why I can't totally kill him. But I do think some of this is a bit in a roundabout way self-serving, because theoretically, if people have more money to spend, then that means they have more money to go get on their phone and get on their Prime account and order something else that'll get there the next day, which will benefit him. So, maybe we need to give all the money to his ex-wife, because she actually donates. She actually donates to stuff and all that kind of stuff. But this goofy system is broke. That's all I know, bro. It don't work. It don't work. All I see is more and more recidivism all the time. So figure that part out. And if it means people paying less taxes, then so be it. Because right now things are getting worse, not better.
Yeah, man. Well said, bro. And that's my thing with politics, bro. Is how do you have faith in that? How do you have faith in this system, even locally? How do you have faith in that? Because his story that he gave about the New York school system, yeah, New York, they're spending a lot of money, but you can go into your local community and see where the tax dollars are going, or where it ain't going, or where is it going. You driving down the road, there's potholes. What's this about? You know what I'm saying? Disaster stuff happens. You paying all this money for home insurance or this and this and that, and you're doing this and this and that, or you paying not home insurance. You paying like, what's the one for your house that you got to pay for your taxes?
Homeowners insurance, property taxes.
Yeah, property tax. You gotta pay property tax. You gotta pay this tax. You gotta pay that tax. I'm paying tax when I buy gas. I'm paying tax when I do. Where's this going? It's not good. And so when you're doing all of this and you're just constantly, paying the piper, and there's no return on it, like ever. They started doing construction on a highway 6 years ago.
Yeah.
They still out there. I saw some stuff. See, China's not playing around. China started a project that would take us 2 decades to finish.
Yeah.
And they do it in 2 years. And it's efficient and it works the first time. Because they're actually doing engineering. They're actually doing stuff to solve infrastructure problems. Our highways are so old.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is old. This is an old infrastructure. The only thing new being built is data centers. Everything else is old. The aggression that's going on with data centers should be that aggressive for infrastructure. How old are these pipes that's sending water to every home? When the last time y'all changed those?
Bro, the neighborhood that my parents' house is in, last week there was a crew behind the house installing gas lines. Do you know when this neighborhood was built? In the late 80s. Like this place has been here for almost 40 years. They just now put gas lines out here.
Come on, man.
The internet out here goes out randomly every couple of weeks. I'll be sitting around working, doing something. Power goes out, internet goes out. What are we? What is this? 2004? It's unacceptable.
It's unacceptable.
It's unacceptable, bro.
And that's my point. It's like, and everybody feels this. Either you consciously know it or you subconsciously know it. And that's why people, when they're voting and presidents and whoever is talking about, I'm gonna do this with taxes, I'm gonna do that with taxes, and people are like, yes, finally somebody that's listening to me. And they do this every 4 to 2 years, and they still going for the trap. They're not gonna change this. You look at the school system, and you look at how badly children are failing here in the West. And they were complaining about the numbers when we were still in school. It has only gotten worse. So it's like, who's in control? Who's in this? That is a skills issue. This is not being efficiently ran at all. It's fat cats. Good old boy club. Hey man, this and this and that. They skimming money off the top. They got bank accounts offshore. They're doing all this other stuff. You know, it's not to benefit the people.
Mm-mm.
And so that's the part about politics on both sides of the aisle that I can't get down with. That's why when any of them get up there and start talking, I don't believe them. Prove me that you change systems. You don't. Because wherever district you're coming from or whatever you're coming from, they have the same type of problems. You just talk better. So I'm not going for this. It is a systems problem. Children shouldn't be failing at this rate. Highways should not have all these potholes. It shouldn't take 5 years to change or to fix a highway. It shouldn't take this long.
Man, when I tell you, they've been working on, so they down in Miami, when you going over that causeway by the arena, they're putting up some super bridge that's supposed to improve transportation and whatnot. Like that's like some kind of a project that's going to take 10 years before they're done. And it's like, I understand that things have large scales, but that just feels like it shouldn't take that long. Like, I get it. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of traffic. I understand it. But what are y'all bozos getting paid 6 figures a year to getting paid for? Like, is it not your job to have the expertise and the scope of knowledge to be able to figure this out in a more efficient manner than that?
Correct.
Like some of this stuff, I'm with you, bro. Some of this stuff doesn't make sense. The turnpike, they started working on widening the turnpike, which is a project that they started 10 years too late, if you ask me. Ain't no time. They are going to take their sweet precious time getting that done. They've been working on that now for a couple years. It looks like nothing's been done. Absolutely. Like, I drive on it every other day. I don't see a difference. all I see is more dirt piled up on the side.
Exactly.
They're installing. So you know how a lot of outdoor public recreational parks now, they have like the outdoor fitness. Have you seen those? Like, it's like workout stuff at an outdoor park, but it's made for the outdoors. So like a lot of these outdoor parks are now installing a lot of these things to improve the quality of the land and the parks and all of that. Bro, they put a fence around the park across the street from the house. Man, I kid you not, they must have put this fence around this park sometime in the spring of last year. They're still working on this park. It ain't that big of a park. Why is it taking 2 years at this point, damn near, to install these things in this park? It's ludicrous.
Correct.
So the cynicism that people feel behind the functionality of these systems is totally warranted.
Yeah.
And so like, but what a lot of working class people still hang their hat on is don't tax people. Or no, I'm sorry, it's the opposite. What a lot of working class people continue to hang their hat on is tax all the rich people because they make all the money. Tax all the rich people because they make all the money. Okay, well, these additional taxes Where's the verification that it's actually going to improve a lot of this infrastructure?
Exactly.
There is none. You cannot give me any verifiable proof that the stuff that matters, which is improving infrastructure, is going to result from taxing them.
Right.
I'm not seeing that. So,
Right.
you know, unless you can convince me that that is actually going to happen, then at that point you're just mad because they rich and you just want to see them having to give up more because you're mad because they're rich. And you know, it's ridiculous, man. I completely get it, man. And the last thing that I'll say, because he touched on, like, you know, we need to get away from the vilification of rich people when it comes to this tax issue. Well, bro, the reason why y'all get vilified when it comes to this is because y'all figure out ways to skirt the system and keep more of the money anyway. That's what people don't like. People don't like the fact that y'all got all the money in the world and you still figure out clever ways to circumvent the system so that you can continue to eat off the top. That's why you get vilified. It ain't just in a vacuum. People don't like you. It's because y'all be doing stuff like that to further exploit the system for your own benefit. That's why.
Yeah, and that's the other part. It's all a game. You should not be able to not pay taxes, especially when everybody knows you the third richest or fourth richest man in the world. You should pay that. And he don't. That's another part where people go, what the hell with this? Because everybody knows it's a game. Everybody knows it's a game. So you can be the person that get played, or you can be the one that's doing the playing. It's on you. And historically, throughout all civilizations, well, I don't say all, but you know, through civilizations where they had taxation systems, the citizens never liked it. And I was learning something about I don't know if it was Roman taxation or something like that, and the soldiers will go off the war, and he can't pay taxes because he would normally be farming and stuff. So he'll go off the war, come back, his house gone. They done took his wife and kids, put him in slavery. And the taxation rate is lower than what we get taxed. And they had a problem with it. They started fighting back and doing all kinds of stuff, and they're getting taxed less than us. Now, granted, they ain't coming to take your wife and kids, but figuratively they do that. So it's just a matter of this has been going on through history for a long time. And taxation is a system control for people. It's a good way to keep people in line. Hey man, just take their money. All of these streaming services and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Once you start putting everything together or whatever, you know, there's all of these different things, all of these different AI companies, but this is all one, you know, or two or three tops, different types of companies, splitting it down into various streaming services. The NFL, if you're trying to watch the NFL thing, I forgot how much they said you got to pay per month if you want to watch NFL stuff, because it's going to be over here on Netflix, it's going to be there on Peacock, it's going to be here, and then you got to pay for all these prescriptions if you want to watch these games. That's taxation. That's to keep the people broke. And what you said, if the more money I have, the more I can give back. Not just so I can have disposable income, the more I can give back, the more I can do stuff. But when people live in check to check and they know it and they feel it, they're fearing the overdraft and doing all of that. That adds attention to people's lives. That controls them and consumes them. So it's a psychological control mechanism. So taxing people through all forms, not just through property tax, not just through income tax. It's taxing you on all these streaming services. It's taxing you with shrinkflation. It's taxing you with inflation. You're getting taxed across the board. So it's a control grid. So Bezos, what he's saying, yeah, it's valid, but that's just the income tax portion. That's not including the other stuff that you're getting taxed on. We can start with that income tax though,
including
and work our way down.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I mean, I agree. You know, I agree. We need to get rid of it, man. But what's going to happen with it? What's happened with it now? So nobody's got those answers, and that lack of transparency is what drives the frustration in this country on both sides.
Yeah, it's messed up. It's all jacked up.
Yeah,
I don't think what currently is happening works, but I also don't trust that taxing them less will make it better. And the hopelessness of it is what I think has people frustrated, myself included, because people should be put in positions to improve. Like, disenfranchised people should be given a legitimate chance through systems and resources that they have access to do better. I don't really think that's happening. I think right now it's a matter of luck. And if they aren't able to luck their way into improvement, it's recidivism, where people are just repeating the same patterns because you just fall into that and you end up utilizing the same resources over and over again to keep you where you are because they aren't actually designed to help you get better. So I just, it's a joke, man. It's a joke. But we'll see how it plays out. But I think it's worth listening to, man. If you can't show me the plan for where my tax dollars are going practically, then don't tax me, because I'd rather just do it myself and figure it out for myself, honestly.
Exactly.
It's a joke. This stuff is a joke, bro.
I know, man. Hey, man, shout out to Gail King, man. Shout out to Gail King.
Now we move along to N3on, streamer. Now, we haven't talked about N3on himself as a topic, but we have covered other people who have been a guest on his lives and talked about some of the stuff that they've said. People like Iggy Azalea, for example. But this time, N3on himself said some interesting things. Basically, N3on is at a point where he can't even ask a girl out on a date. He can't go out on a date. He can't interact with a woman. He can't do anything like that unless there's a phone or a camera present so that he can create content. It's like he has an out-of-body experience if there's no camera or no phone around for him to stream content, even if it's for him to be able to go on a date and do regular human stuff. So N3on says he can't go on dates unless his camera and chat are with him. N3on is opening up about how streaming has completely changed the way he interacts with women, admitting he feels uncomfortable going on dates without a camera and a live stream chat present. During a recent conversation with Fauzi, the popular internet personality revealed that his dependence on streaming has made normal dating situations feel almost impossible. I'm so nervous to ask a girl on a date that I've literally had to bring a camera for it to even be a date, because I just can't. I don't even know how to go about a date. I swear to God, I need to stream. N3on has built much of his online presence around highly interactive live streams that often blur the line between personal life and entertainment. Over the past few years, other streamers across platforms like Kick and Twitch have increasingly turned dating, public interactions, and even arguments into content for viewers. Even though he doesn't know how to go on a proper date, N3on is familiar with getting women gifts. During a live stream earlier this month, Alabama Barker, the daughter of Travis Barker and Shayna Moakler, became emotional after N3on surprised her with a luxury Birkin bag. In clips from the stream, Barker appeared overwhelmed by the gift, repeatedly saying she felt like she was going to throw up and have a panic attack after opening the bag. N3on later explained that the Birkin was authentic, came with certifications, and was meant as a genuine gesture of appreciation after Barker had previously given him gifts herself. Barker responded by thanking the streamer and telling him she loved and appreciated him, at one point saying she felt close to tears over the surprise. Now, I don't know if there's some damage control going on in the N3on camp, but I tried to find video of him saying this, couldn't find it. Every link led to a broken web page or a broken, tab. I couldn't find anything of him actually saying this. But, according to this interview with Fauzi, he can't even go on a date without having a chat or a phone or a camera to be able to stream, because it doesn't even feel normal to him. What did you think about that?
Well, I'm glad he was honest, but since you said there's damage control, it sounds like his team doesn't appreciate that level of honesty. Hey, man, but you can look at this young man and see that he's struggles. Hey, man, but he made a way for himself when it comes to the streaming world. He built a persona around that, which is why he feels like he needs a camera around, because before that camera, man, He probably was getting stuffed in the locker, figuratively speaking. He
Or
probably
literally.
couldn't. Yeah,
Or
he
literally.
probably couldn't say nothing. You know, see the girls and freeze up. But when he's got the chat there, that's his ego boost. You know, that's him. He's in his bag now. He can say the things that he's afraid to say. You know, it lowers his inhibitions. It's his alcohol. So, you know, so that's how he feels about that. But it also speaks to a lot of the things that the young people that's his age struggle with, and that's, you know, going out there in the field and going to combat. It is not sweet out there, bro. But him having a camera, it's everything. You know, that's like pulling up in a Bentley, bro. Like, you know, it's a blind date or a first date or whatever. You pull up in a Bentley, man, that's doing a lot of talking for you. You know, you can tell a girl that you're N3on, and she probably already knows, but she fell in love with his persona, or she's interested or intrigued by his persona. He don't know how to have that. He don't know how to have that in real life. So it's unfortunate, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I'm glad he was being real about it. At least the kids that did hear that, I guess felt some type of connection with that, maybe. But the lesson in that is not good, as far as I gotta do all of these things to compensate for it, you know, for my lack of game. And that's crazy, man. Like, some people wouldn't even have the heart to connect with, you know, Iggy Azalea, let alone have her come on stream and you sitting there talking and kicking with her, but you can't go on a date without a camera. You know, that duality there is insane. But again, I'm not surprised, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but again, when you look at this young man, it looks like, yeah, that looks like an area you may be struggling at, you know. But this scratches the surface again of that Black Boy Max topic that we covered, where he was saying that this is harder than having a real job, or that whole debate. And Black Boy was basically talking about the psychological layer of his job and how taxing it is. And then even in that, I was saying that, hey man, this is a new phenomenon. We don't know what's going on with this. We don't know how this is wiring these people's brains. And this is a good case study of it's preventing him from being social outside of it. Now, this is something that I didn't weigh in, but this has clearly wired his brain so much that he can't even go on an intimate date, one-on-one setting, you know what I'm saying, without bringing the camera crew, you know what I'm saying, and having the chat weigh in on what he's got for an appetizer. That's sad.
It sounds like an addiction. You know, I don't know how much this, you know, I'm just saying, a person who talks like that, like, man, I can't even, you know, like an alcoholic would be like, I can't go to a restaurant and not order a drink, or I can't do this and not, you know what I'm saying? Like, for him to say, I have difficulty doing this basic human thing without streaming, to me, sounds like you have an addiction to streaming. Now, I don't know if that's in the DSM-5 at this point.
It ain't, not yet. It's coming.
Right. But that's what it sounds. It sounds like somebody would diagnose this as a streaming addiction.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. So yeah, man, you can go on back, but that's what I think this I think his brain got wired the wrong way, man. I think that this is a good case study amongst others. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the time nor bandwidth to do a deep dive and study pulling in all of this empirical data in order to actually show that it is significant, that these dudes that's doing all this streaming, especially the ones that's got a lot of followers and subscribers and always engaging and stuff like that, how they've fallen off. They're not falling off because they ain't making content no more. They falling off because it looks like they're doing too much. You know, it looks like what they're doing is, the human brain isn't supposed to process that much. When you get in that chat and that thing is flying, you can't even read that stuff. How are they doing this? They're talking to all these people. They got this going on. They got to put on a show. They got to put on the clown nose, honk their nose, flap their feet, juggle. That ain't right. And they do that all day long. So your brain gotta be fried. So yeah, man, it'd be interesting to see how this stuff plays out over time. But this is, to me, this is just another exhibit of how streaming can go wrong, man. But what are your thoughts, bro, on this N3on young man saying that he can't even go on a date unless he bring the camera and the chat with him? What are your thoughts, bro?
I think it's a moot point because I think without streaming he can't get dates. So, you know,
come on,
no. I'm keeping it real, and this is not to go at him. It's just to.
I feel you.
I'm not trying to go at him, but there's an insinuation based upon the tone of that comment that he's capable of doing it. He just doesn't want to because he's so used to streaming. When the truth is, I don't think he's capable of getting dates without it. I think it's an appendage for him. He needs it. You know, and if you watch, like, I've seen enough of the clips of him, and we played several clips from his videos where he's got other guests on there. And I think it's fair to say, based upon all of those clips that we've seen, any clips that anyone else has seen, if there's anybody who's actually familiar with his platform, who actually watches his YouTubes and all of that, that he's socially awkward. I think even the social awkwardness exudes from him, even when he is in his element doing a live stream. There's an aspect of his just general disposition that reeks of social awkwardness. Now, it's a good thing for him that he sort of fell into this pocket of streaming, because without it, he'd be in a whole lot of trouble socially, I believe. Which begs the question, because I've often thought about this. You know, I don't know about you, but a lot of these people who we look at who do this kind of stuff, I find most of them to be socially awkward. Like, it ain't just him. Black Boy Max, when we see his videos, there's an aspect of the way that he talks and the way that he carries himself and his disposition that suggests to me that he's a bit socially awkward. Kai Cenat is another one. He's socially awkward. They brought Kai Cenat on First Take, and it was a cringe fest. I could barely get through the whole thing because it was cringy trying to watch him navigate actual one-to-one communication in person, because it just seemed like he would be much more comfortable sitting in front of a monitor, you know, yelling into a microphone in front of a chat. But you're on national television, you ain't in front of a chat. You're in front of a bunch of cameras that's hot, and you got to talk to people in live in 4K. And it came off to me as though he was struggling with that. He was short with his words. He couldn't complete sentences. It was just awkward. Now, you can chalk that up to not having enough media training and all of this kind of stuff, but clearly there was an element there that's missing. And I've noticed that a lot with a lot of these other streamers. So I've often wondered, because what I observe with a lot of these guys is they're socially awkward, which, by the way, isn't a crime. And that's not a criticism. A lot of people are socially awkward. Hell, to a certain extent, I'm still dealing with certain aspects of social awkwardness. So I think we all deal with this kind of stuff. So I'm not trying to go at him from a criticism standpoint, but it's just one of those things where I've wondered, you know, it's like a chicken or the egg thing. Like, did all of these guys gravitate towards streaming because they were socially awkward? Or did they start streaming, and because of the streaming, they didn't develop certain aspects of their social skills, hence they are now socially awkward? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, it's a chicken or the egg thing. Which thing created which one happened first? Because from what I can tell, most of them that I observe, they're all socially awkward. Even the ones who don't come off as socially awkward as the rest of them are still a bit weird socially. It still seems as though in certain social settings, they're going to come off as a bit uncomfortable because they just are lacking in a requisite amount of social skills necessary to be successful in certain environments. All of them, I swear to God, all of them have this in common. All of them. So obviously, one of the primary skills that you need to develop in order to be successful with women is having adequate social skills. Unless you're just going to throw money at your problems, the only way that you can really be successful with women like that is to develop and have adequate social skills. If you're lacking in that department, it's going to be a bit rough for you. So whether you're streaming or not, bro, the root of this issue to me is his lack of social skills. Did the streaming cause that? Or was he already built like that? And so that's why he gravitated towards the streaming. I don't know him personally, but I kind of feel like the streaming is being used as a crutch to sort of distract from the fact that really what he's got going on is inadequately developed social skills. And I mean, you're just, like I said before, man, and we see this too. So maybe the way he does, meet his end goal is throwing money at a situation. I don't know him. I don't know. I don't know his personal life, but maybe he does throw money at it. As I'm pretty sure a lot of those guys throw money at stuff. I don't think that's a stretch to say that. So whatever the case may be, the only way that he can sort of overcome his lack of social skills is to be in that element in which he's streaming. And so I guess for him, he's deduced that even if he has to be streaming while on a legitimate date, so be it, because that's the only way that he can overcome that aspect of his relative atrophy. But these guys are awkward, bro. Socially inept, I would say. And that's the primary way to fast track your way towards lack of success with women overall. But the good news is that can be developed over time. It can't be developed over time, however, if you just are going to leap to streaming every time you're in any sort of social situation. Like, that's not the way you fix that problem. And eventually you're going to be 45, 50 years old. What are you going to do? Go on a date and still be streaming at 50? I get, with the way the world is going, I suppose. Yeah, I guess.
Man, you never know, dog.
But it is what it is, man. I don't think this is necessarily about his streaming per se, and it's more about where he's lacking in his own personal development. And I'm just curious to know which came first, the lacking in the development or the streaming, because I do think that the both of them work symbiotically, but I think one of them causes the other. And it's fascinating to me to try to figure out which one causes the other.
Yeah, that's fair, man. And by the way, I dropped the link in here. It's an Instagram link, so we could try to look at the video. But and whenever you get to pull up, I'll pause my talking.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. The social awkwardness thing is, but again, streaming is an interesting phenomenon because you have to have some level of charisma. I mean, in order to keep, thousands of kids, but thousands of people entertained. There we go. So let's see what Sir Neon's got to say here.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah. When's the last time you streamed without doing this?
Never.
Why?
Because I like to see what they're saying. I'm connecting with the audience.
I don't use the word. I'm not even use the word I use, but
Like, look, they're typing. No chat.
when you on a date, are you on your phone?
When I go on a date,
Yeah.
brother, I
No
can't.
camera date.
I can't remember the last time I've I'm so nervous to ask a girl on a date. I've literally had to bring the camera for it to be a date because I just can't. I don't even know how to go about a date. I swear to God.
What does that even mean?
I would need to stream.
I totally forgot we even did that thing earlier with those women.
Yeah. Let me call him back.
I felt like I was in I don't even know what I was in.
What?
If you want to call him back.
Low T, nah. It's just I just don't know how. I don't know how to go. I'm just not. I'm gonna be honest, bro. I'm a man, but I'm not at the same time. I just
Question.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. That sounds like social. That sounds like a lack of social skills to me. That's what that sounds like. That sounds like social atrophy, severely underdeveloped social skills.
It's both of our theories. Screaming loudly. So my theory came out when he said, "Damn, bro, you never not looking at that phone? What's going on, man?" That's he's wired. He's wired to that. That's the Christopher Nolan thing too, man. He's in it. So he gotta check that phone. He's got to know what his audience is thinking. And that's a rewiring of the brain.
Mm-hmm.
And then comes the social awkwardness part, where it's just like, so I would definitely say that he was the social awkward before the whatever, and that didn't help his case.
It made it worse.
It didn't help his case, which caused the wiring of he is invested in his audience more than he's invested in the world.
In the woman.
In the world. He's sitting here talking to this guy and he's checking his phone. So much so he's like, damn, bro, we're trying to have a conversation. Are you never not in that phone?
Well, the audience, the world is his audience, though. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. That's his world. But he's living in the world. He's still got to interact with people.
He's still got to be with a woman, though. Too.
I know.
So like you being plugged in is so beyond the pale that there's no circumstance that you can be in physically which can sort of let you know that maybe this is something that you can put down for a second or two.
That's where he's at. Yeah. That he's so into it that it's not even a woman related. He's not even paying attention to the questions being asked. He's at the location with the guy, but he's in his phone, worried about what the audience is thinking or whatever. So that's going on when he's taking a shower, when he's about to go to sleep at night. What's the audience? Hey, how can I engage with you? It's just in the streaming world. So that's what I'm saying. So he can be in a place, but not of it, because his brain is wired for streaming. So he was socially awkward. The streaming didn't help. And then when you tell him to, hey, bro, go in the field and get some combat wounds, he's like, yeah, right.
Yeah, but I think there's also maybe, and this is crazy for me to say as somebody who is the age that I am.
Okay.
But there could be an element of this where there could be an element, and again, I'm not trying to go at the kid, but
yeah, sure.
there could be an element of this where there is a deprioritization of women in the first place. Like in his life, for him, on his list of priorities, women is far down the list. Like, how often does he even think about going on dates to begin with? This might be something that for him in his life is so infrequent that, oh yeah, I can't do it, or I struggle with it if this is not happening, or I'm not streaming, or blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, are you going on several dates a week and finding that you can't put your phone down? Like, I get the impression that that's not the case.
That's not happening.
It's a situation in which, it's a deprioritization for him. So at the point in which he encounters it, it's something that he's confronted by, but otherwise it's not really something that's a part of his daily life because it's very low on his list of priorities. Which I think is correlated with all of this stuff that we're talking about, like the connection to the devices, the connection to the world, the inability to be disciplined enough to draw the line and discern when is a reasonable amount of escape and when's a reasonable amount of exposure to the technologies, and it's all of that stuff. The only question that I have is one's propensity for that predicated on them initially being socially awkward, or is this just something that we all have an equal amount of chance of being exposure to? You know what I'm saying? That's where I kind of draw this in. Like, see, this to me is less about a N3on thing, and it's more about our human involvement with this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So,
and your point's well taken. I mean, the social awkwardness is there. So I think that I don't think there's an absolute in this. I think it's a concert of stuff at play here. And it's one of those things, bro. It's like those people that are like really good, really good at being a celebrity, like certain rappers, they're better at being a celebrity than an actual artist and stuff because they know how to play the room. They know how to play people. They'll do whatever it takes to get a record deal. They'll do whatever it takes to get in a Wendy's commercial. And so whatever that requires a certain personality set. One thing that I have observed from all streamers, they have a uniform personality set. They can really do that well. And just because they can do that well, don't mean they're well put together. And so then that's when, once they actually blow up and you actually hear them talk, the interactions that they have, it's all lame stuff. I mean, it's all lame, but they're really good at streaming. But they're bringing in their world problems into the streaming. So they're really good at streaming. So this guy is socially awkward. I'm sure not really getting much play before the streaming. And then that didn't help, but he's good at streaming. So by him doing that, then, it kind of cascade off one another. And then, so I don't think there's one area we can point to. I think it's just more or less it's a concert of stuff where all of these things are working together. And then once you see the final byproduct, whether it's him, Kai Cenat, or whoever else, then you can start piecing some things together. But I don't know if there's one linear correlation that's going on as far as how this goes. But I do think there is a personality set that you need to have. I think that is very consistent. The problems that these people had before streaming, it only becomes more out of control, I would say, once they do become the streamers and get locked into that world. So, but that, yeah, man, I just overall, I think streaming the way that these people do it is not healthy stuff. That's a lot. That's a lot of energy you got to entertain every day. And there's no way that you can stay rational, in my opinion, in that world. You got to take breaks, and these guys don't.
Yeah, I find it very interesting, the intersection between these new forms of communication and the long-term impact on some of the things that I perceive to be unchanged when it comes to how we're designed as humans.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, at the end of the day, I do believe that on a baseline level, we're all designed to socially interact with other humans in the same way, so to speak, from an in-person and one-to-one communication standpoint. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that you can totally remove oneself from that, even as we continue to immerse ourselves in things like streaming and live podcasting and all of this other stuff. And so whenever you see the intersection of that manifest itself in various ways like this, with a kid that to me clearly deprioritizes women in his own life. And again, I'm not trying to knock him. I'm not sitting here saying women should be more of a priority for him, because it's his life. He can do whatever he wants. Mm-hmm. But it's just interesting to me to see that kind of stuff play out.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. I think that's fascinating, but I don't know. For me, the revelation with all of this was somewhat harkening back to the first topic that we discussed with Christopher Nolan and where the world is with our dependency on these technologies. But it's also dovetailing into how our dependencies on these technologies are altering some of our sensibilities. And I do think with some of us, one of the various ways that we can observe the altering of our sensibilities is with, I struggle with asking women out on dates if I'm not doing this. Or women aren't even that important to me to begin with. I don't care. Other things I care about more. I care about streaming more than going on dates. I care about interacting with the audience more than I care about asking women out on dates, which is a foreign notion to me, but I'm not as immersed in it as he is, clearly. And so it's just a fascinating thing to witness, in my opinion.
Hey, man, agreed, bro. So, hey, shout out to who do I shout out for this one, bro?
I mean, listen, I'm shouting out N3on and all of the rest of these streamers in the hopes that they can work on their social skills and figure out ways to not feel like they got to stream all the time.
There you go.
Because you do need balance. Everybody needs balance, man. I don't care who you are or how good you become at doing something. Everybody needs balance. And man, like, to not even know how to ask a girl out unless you're streaming, that reeks of a lack of balance, in my opinion.
Yep.
And now we have Steve Harvey, who is questioning.
Did you put it up?
It's up. You don't see it?
Well, go ahead.
You talking about the overlay?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's up there.
Okay.
But now we got Steve Harvey, who is cautioning all young men on how to not become like Diddy. Diddy, of course, we don't need to rehash what's going on with him. But Steve Harvey has some words of wisdom for men in terms of how to go about not being in that position, being more respectful, being gentlemen, all of that good stuff. So Steve Harvey's just not for it. And, you know, he wants to see more young men go about doing things the right way. Do you still not see it?
No, I went on the online, bro. So it's on the actual YouTube. So, but I don't see it on my side. It's all good.
Oh, that's weird. Okay. All right. Well, so this says Steve Harvey warns young men not to become like Diddy. You've got to be a gentleman. Steve Harvey has issued a warning to young men not to become like Sean Diddy Combs. During a recent interview on the One-on-One with Chris Fade podcast, the comedian and media personality explained how a man's character, especially in how he treats women, will determine his future. While noting that Diddy was getting away with a lot, Harvey shared his reaction to the video of Diddy dragging and kicking Cassie Ventura in a disturbing 2016 surveillance video. Diddy is currently serving a 50-month sentence at a federal facility in New Jersey after being found guilty on multiple counts of violating the Mann Act. The disgraced mogul was sentenced for 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution related to his now infamous freak-offs or hotel nights, drug-fueled hours, or days-long sexual encounters involving a girlfriend and male escorts that Diddy would arrange, orchestrate, pay for, and often record. All right, so we'll go ahead and get out of this, and we'll play the clip that we got of Steve Harvey, who I believe has been mentioned on the channel, but I'm not sure if Steve Harvey is friend status quite yet.
He's getting there.
He's getting there. All right, so let me pause that and bring this up.
You cover Lori Harvey more than him.
Yeah, well, that should come as no surprise. All right, so yeah, here's Steve Harvey talking about the importance of not becoming like Diddy.
A good guy, you'll survive it. It's the bad guys that don't survive it. You know, if you're not trying to be cruel or unkind to people, you're not trying to be abusive or use people, be a gentleman, be fair. You know, don't talk to women that way, treat women with kindness and respect. If you're that guy, you'll survive that area. Most of us do. And then if you're not that guy, you won't survive that area. He's in prison right now because you've been Puffy. You've been watching it. You turn into Puffy. If you don't respect it, you're going to do some time.
Why do you think that with Diddy? Is it because you're living a life where there are no boundaries? You get whatever you want whenever you want. You've done everything you possibly have. And there are no boundaries. So you just keep going further and further?
For you to be a public figure, wrap a towel around yourself and run down a public hallway, not knowing who's at that elevator. It could have been other people at the elevator. But you go around there and there's no one at the elevator, and that's your reaction to this girl? Yo, bro. So now, that's what we caught on tape. That's the one that's on tape. That's the one that's out in the public in front of the elevator. My goodness, what's been going on when you ain't in front of the elevator? Yeah. So now you're just not a good person. You know, man, you can't run it like that because now you got to pay. And the thing about sin is, sin costs you more than you want to pay and make you stay longer than you want to stay.
Bars. Bars. What is sin costs you more than what you want to pay and it makes you stay longer than you want to stay. Bars.
Yeah,
All right. So yeah, what are your thoughts on what Steve Harvey had to say about that?
Yes, it's true. It's true to a degree. It's easy to look at it. It's easy to look at the Diddy situation. But if there was some devil advocacy here, no pun intended. But if there was some of that going on, it's like he didn't get much time. Then there's cases out there where there's emails, flightless, black books, doing worse than what Diddy did, allegedly. And they're not in prison. So we can look at Diddy and point and go, yeah, when you're living bad things happen. But what about all these other people? What about these people that live to be 90 years old and they're just absolutely heinous human beings? And I'm not talking about like a one-off person, angry grandma. I'm talking about people that have orchestrated systematic genocides, and they just live to be 80 years old, get heart replacements, just get right back at it. What about those people? So, yeah, I hear that. So it works on one level, but then there's other levels where you have to look at it and go, all right, man, it's not an absolute rule. Diddy did something wrong, and it wasn't beating up a woman in an elevator. He did something else wrong, because there's people out there that do worse stuff than beating up a woman in the elevator, and they don't get the public embarrassment that Diddy just went through. And so, yeah, I hear Steve. I'm not telling people out here to be evil. I'm not telling people out here to beat up women near the elevator. But what I'm saying is, I feel like that's an absolutist kind of statement. And if you just look at the Diddy situation, I don't want to say it's misleading. It's true in that situation, but it's only anecdotal. It's not a universal law. But what are your thoughts, man, on Steve Harvey weighing in on the Diddy situation, saying that, hey, man, you do all of this crazy stuff, you bound to get what's coming to you? What are your thoughts, man?
So when I was a kid, I used to play Super Nintendo. And, back in the day when you played most, Super Nintendo games, there were no memory cards. You couldn't save your progress. Like if you died, you had to start back at the beginning again. And depending on the game that I was playing, if I got far enough and I died and I ran out of lives and I ran out of all my continues, it was a very frustrating situation. And oftentimes what I would do to vent my frustration is I would throw the joystick. I went through a lot of Super Nintendo joysticks in rage because of when I would die playing a video game. I would get so upset that I couldn't contain my anger. And the only thing that I can do to make myself feel better was to throw the controller against the wall and it would shatter. Now I got to go buy another joystick. So I would do the same thing with the games themselves, unless it was a rental from Blockbuster.
Restraint then.
Yeah, unless this was a video game rental from Blockbuster or Monster Video, I would throw the cartridge against the wall, and a lot of times it would break apart. This is kind of what I did when I was angry at things that didn't go my way with objects throughout my youth. I would break them because I didn't have an appropriate way to channel my frustration. That is something that you do when you perceive something to be this object that you use at your disposal. You're going to be violent with it. You'll be abusive towards it. You'll even break it from time to time because it is of no consequence to you for it to break other than a mere inconvenience, because it's an object that basically exists for your own pleasure. Now, in the case of me, this object was my video games. They served at the whim of my pleasure. I played them for my own personal pleasure. Whenever they upset me, I might break them from time to time, depending on how upset that I was. The only reason why I bring that up is because I believe that is an analogy to the way that a lot, not all, but a lot of today's modern man interacts with certain women, which is they are an accessory. So you have a lot of guys in today's world who accessorize women. They shop for them. We talk about this all the time. I believe Instagram started this. It created this deeply embedded subconscious psychosis in men that women are just kind of there for you to shop through. So you swipe here, swipe there, swipe here, swipe there. Now, things like dating apps have exacerbated this dynamic. You're on Tinder or you're on Bumble, or I don't know what dating apps people are using nowadays, but the functionality of them is largely similar, which is here's a picture of a woman, swipe here, swipe there. I'm virtually shopping from women. In a roundabout way, I am accessorizing women to a certain degree. They're not actually real humans. They are inanimate objects that are manifesting themselves as images. And I'm picking and choosing which one I want, and I'm picking and choosing which ones that I want to dispose of. So when you have this dynamic going on of these guys who are essentially accessorizing women, you're going to reach a point in which they start to treat women like accessories. Now, am I saying that this is right or wrong? Of course not. I am not saying that it's okay. I'm not saying it's right. I am not offering up an excuse. What I am offering up is an explanation. And there is this accepted pattern of behavior in today's relationship, dating, whatever you want to call it, world, where women are placing a price tag on themselves and are essentially making themselves available to certain profiles of men, and these men are choosing to engage with these women from a consumer standpoint as if they were accessories, grocery items that they are shopping for at a supermarket, or as if they are going to a car lot and looking to buy a new car, or if they're in a new neighborhood and they want to buy a new house. You drive around the neighborhood, you pick the house that you want, you call your realtor, and you say, hey, get on this. I want to buy this house. That's essentially what guys like Diddy are doing with women. They're shopping for them. Does this apply to all men? No. Steve Harvey has to be talking to guys in that kind of position. He ain't talking to everybody, but he is talking to that segment of men who approximate women as though they are accessories. And when you're dealing with an accessory, what might you do when you become displeased with that accessory? You might abuse it from time to time. You might break it. You may throw it against the wall, the same way that I used to throw my joysticks against the wall. Hey, I paid for this thing. I bought it. So if it pisses me off enough, I'll just go buy another one. But in the meantime, how do I channel my frustrations? I'm going to throw this damn thing against the wall because it just pissed me off. These dudes are accessorizing these women. They're shopping for them. They're not actually connecting with them. They're not making connections with them. They're not actually building with them. They're buying them. You bought that girl. So when you got that kind of situation going on where we're shopping for women, eventually you're going to see stuff like this. Is there a trickle-down effect to the rest of the population? I do believe so. You know, at a certain point, guys are going to start looking at women less like women and more like accessories, items that they shop for. Because that's what you're doing when you're on the phone, or when you're on the OnlyFans doing your subscription stuff, or when you're on these free sites, or whatever else you're doing to get your rocks off. With women. Swipe here, swipe there, pick this, tap that, pay for this, pay for that. You're buying stuff. And when you buy stuff and you get mad at it, you might mess with it from time to time because you're displeased with the level of service that you got. You don't think you got what you paid for, right? Like what always happens when you don't, like what do you have a tendency to do when you don't think you got what you paid for? You may throw it away. You may get rid of it, give it to somebody else, try to send it back. And if you can't send it back, what do? Raise hell, get mad. You try to demand a refund, get us credit. These are the things that we do with accessories. So women have just become life-sized, breathing accessories to some guys. And to those guys, they're going to treat them accordingly. So it is what it is, man. Maybe if people, I don't want to blame anybody. I'm not trying to blame people. But maybe if there was less of a tendency on the part of some women to essentially accessorize themselves, a lot of this stuff wouldn't happen as much. And maybe if there was less of a tendency on the part of men to view women as accessories, less of this would happen. But right now, there is an element of this in our society. And with that element of this in our society present, this is what you get. So yeah, that all sounds good. Treat them like gentlemen, be nice, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but some guys just look at women like accessories. And when you feel like you didn't get what you paid for, you may throw the joystick against the wall. So, it is what it is.
Well, or you can treat the accessory like a gentleman and get eaten alive. So you know what I'm saying? Like, you like, hey, let me get you out of this club. Let me take you home. Let me wind you and dine you. You know what I'm saying? Nah, man. The only reason why she liked this is because she's never had a real gentleman before.
No, you'd be a fool. That's a fool's goal. That's a
Well,
fool's
that's what I'm saying. This is my thing with Steve Harvey. He's Mr. Half Truths. And I know that was just a clip. Maybe he articulated himself better on the back end, but I highly doubt it. He does this universal, sweeping, generalized thing that men need to be X. They need to be like this. They need to be gentlemen's first.
It sounds good to say. That's a thing that sounds good. It sounds good to say that.
And he's Mr. Self-Help man. You know what I'm saying? He talked like that he talked like that all the time. And these absolute statements and it's like more nuanced than that. I get it. Granted, bro, be a gentleman. I ain't telling you to be Diddy. But at the same time, man, it's like, you gotta evaluate, bro. You can't just be like, yeah, I'm gonna just be a gentleman out here in the field, man. It don't work that way. And like you said, bro, the accessorizing is going both ways. Women accessorize men too. It's not at the same level, but it's happening. And women put themselves up for sale for sure. You know what I'm saying? And men are constantly on the hunt to buy. So this dynamic is very much going on. And I think that's the root of the problem, like you said, because when we get into this transactional thing, why be a gentleman? Why be a gentleman if I'm doing a transaction?
I'm getting what I paid for. That's right.
Yeah. What I paid for. And honestly, it wasn't all that good in the first place. I thought it was going to be something better. So then now there's a problem, like you said, man. So yeah, we're not condoning violence here. But one thing that it does is it opens the door for people's however they decide to react to it. So a guy like Diddy is going to, do fisticuffs, and like you said, another dude might start to arguing or, nasty behavior or whatever, and that's my problem with the transaction field, period, bro. Like there's nothing good that comes out of like the transaction world. I mean, there's some stuff here, some stuff there, man, but the cons way outweigh the pros when you're living that life of transaction.
It's just that the transaction world is starting to supplant the otherwise typical world as typical. Like this is, there is no delineation between the transactional world and not, because everything is just a transaction. So by default, that has become the standard way that everybody operates.
And that's why the dating pool is so what it is. It's like the dating pool at this point, bro. It's like what they call that, still water. Yeah, man, you jump in there and brain eating amoebas. Go get your ass. Don't dive in there. It's sick out there. You know what I'm saying? So you need to get into some fresh water. Yeah, get into some fresh water, man. Go with some good people man. But yeah, I agree with you, bro. Like, and that's why those dating apps, bro, that's why it's a cesspool, man. It's all kinds of people with issues on there that get metastasized because they keep using the damn app, keep meeting people, keep getting burned literally and figuratively. So now they bringing those war wounds to you because you're like the fifth guy that they've hooked up with this year. So you're gonna feel, you're gonna feel the pain from all of those 4 dudes and the 7 from last year. This ain't clean, man. So it's like, yeah, be a gentleman, but what are we doing out here?
Yes, it's frightening. Yeah,
man. So I hear him, in order for there to be balanced courtship going on out here, the men need to be balanced and be a gentleman, but when constituted. And and women need to do the same thing, man. They need their own, version of that. and be balanced and come to the table, man. But right now, man, there's so much pop the balloon. There's so much, you know what I'm saying, trash going on, man. Like, what are we supposed to do?
20v1.
Come on, bro. 20v1. Come on, man. So this is the current state. This is the current state, man. So I hear him, man, and I'm not throwing stones at the overall message of men need to be a gentleman, because for sure. But let's contextualize that. So yeah, man, y'all just be safe out here, man. No still water diving. It's gross out here.
Maybe he's operating under the baseline understanding that you, as a man, I'm giving him far more credit than he deserves, but maybe he's operating from a default position of assuming that men are trying to interact with non-accessorized women. Maybe that's why he didn't offer up the
assumption, sir.
I'm trying to find some optimism. I'm trying to find some optimism with it. But I hear what you're saying. There's always room for more context. Like 95% of the stuff that we talk about, there's always room for more context. But the lack of said contextualization is what gives us the ability to be able to opine the way that we do.
For sure.
But you know, yeah, I'm with you. I just automatically assumed that we were talking about, because you shouldn't be dealing with women in the nighttime unless you're treating them accordingly. So, I mean, if that's what we're talking about, then what do you expect? Like a human being is going to treat an accessory that they are dissatisfied with accordingly.
Yeah, man.
So, I mean, if you are a human being who accessorizes themselves, whether you are a man or a woman, unfortunately, it should come as no surprise that you are treated as such if the person comes to be dissatisfied with the way that you've chosen to accessorize yourself. So the best way to not see that kind of mistreatment is to not accessorize yourself. But the current culture has basically conditioned all of us to varying degrees to accessorize ourselves.
Yep.
So this is what you got. I mean, what is a BBL if not a woman like you are? That is literally a woman accessorizing herself. Why are you doing it?
Literally.
There's no other way to explain why you did that. I don't give a damn what you tell me. You did that because you felt as though you could curry some kind of a reaction or kind of attention from a certain kind of individual or sets of individuals that you're looking for. That is a form of accessorizing. Who told you to do that? What has informed you that this is something that will enhance how you feel about yourself or how you think you look from other people? And you know, dudes do it too.
Oh yeah,
dudes do it too. You want to, you know, I gave you the story before about, you know, there are certain guys who I met who, if you told them to go and get a job because they needed to keep the lights on, they'd be demotivated. But if you told them to go get a job because there's going to be some wolves out there, they'll go do it. Same thing. So we're all doing this crap, but
man,
I mean,
we ain't trying to work with the wolves though, bro.
I mean, we're all doing this stuff, man. So like, if you accessorize yourself to make yourself more appealing, which is what your culture has convinced you is what you're supposed to do, then certain things may happen as a result. And I'm not owning it. I'm not saying that it will happen, and I'm not saying that it should happen, but certain things will happen because in life, ugly things do happen. So what you have to do is best position yourself environmentally to have certain things not happen to you. Yeah. But when you do certain things that literally put you in more of an environment for certain things to happen to you, you opened yourself up to that. Unfortunately, it's an ugly, cruel, disgusting, unfair world, and these are some of the things that happen. Yeah, and more guys being a gentleman is not going to fix that, because I'm telling you right now, you can have a gentleman who is the biggest gentleman of them all, Mr. Debonair, super gentleman guy. You know, learn from his pops who's a gentleman, learn from his uncles who's a gentleman. You put that gentleman in an environment in which he feels like he paid for something, and that gentleman is dissatisfied because he feels like he didn't get what he paid for, he might act out of pocket, because that's what humans do when they feel as though they didn't get their money's worth.
Mm-hmm.
They act out of pocket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Hey, well said, bro. So, yeah, man, be a gentleman, bro. But know what room you in. And I'm not saying to not be a gentleman, overall, man. But look, don't put your heart out there to get crushed because Steve Harvey told you to be a gentleman, and you in the field. You know what I'm saying? You scrolling. You brought her in from the club, bro. Like, and she always there because you always there. But y'all finally linked up now. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, me and her always be looking at each other, man. I think it's something special. That no, it ain't. She look at everybody like that. So just contextualize how you gonna be this gentleman, bro. You know what I'm saying? I've got the war wounds to prove it. Just go. So go out there being a gentleman to everybody, because everybody don't deserve that. And so I'm not telling you to drag them by the elevator like Fred Flintstone or nothing. But just understand what room you in, bro. If you out there in the field, bro, then you might want to hold that in. But if you met her in a solid circumstance, you ain't have to buy nothing. She ain't have to sell nothing. You know what I'm saying? You observe her. She ain't selling to other people. She just to herself. She doing her thing. She ain't got nothing to prove. You ain't got nothing to prove. That's when y'all can open up to each other. But you know what I'm saying? If you met her on IG and she got all these thirst trap pictures, she got all these things on her reels and all her little personal inner friends or whatever, and y'all kicking it like that, and hey man, just know what you're getting yourself into. You know what I'm saying? So be careful out here is what I would say.
I mean, listen, if you in a strip club, if you in the club, if you in the casino, what you shouldn't be a gentleman. That's how you get like those are non-gentleman quarters. Okay.
Exactly.
That is how you get taken advantage of. This is assuming that you are doing things not in those particular settings.
Yeah.
There is an appropriate level of behavior when you're in those settings. And in my opinion, being a gentleman is not one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that particular message is pertaining to those environments, I would assume. But if there's anybody out there who is thinking maybe I should be more of a gentleman as I try to throw my bands at this stripper, maybe you should sit down and reconsider something.
Hey man, you never know. You never know, man. Hey, but shout out to Steve Harvey's mustache. And shout out to the man unit. So yeah, shout out to Steve, man.
And man unit went strong.
Oh, brother.
Friend of the channel, Joy Taylor, believes that if men could get pregnant, there would be drive-through abortion clinics.
Oh boy.
She thinks the conversation around this particular issue would be a non-starter if it were men who were at the subject of this. Now, Joy Taylor, by the way, friend of the channel, this is consistent with her rhetoric. She spends a lot of time talking about marriage, dating, sex, relationships, and the plight of women in this patriarchal world. That's pretty much Joy Taylor's entire shtick. That's her whole body. Yeah, that's her whole body of work. And so in this instance, she's talking about how if men were at the subject of the conversation around access to things like abortion, then we would have been figured this thing out already. But since it's women, and I guess no one cares about women, woe is women, it's not like that. So Joy Taylor thinks there'd be drive-through abortions if men could get pregnant. Joy Taylor believes reproductive advancements would be far beyond what they are now if men were able to get pregnant. During a recent episode of her Too Personal show, the sports commentator and television host shared why she believes men should be able to carry children. Taylor poked holes in widely held beliefs that pregnancy is this thing that everyone can do and everyone should just embrace it, and it's easy and you figure it out and you owe it to society to make children. Like, get the F out of here. She explained that while she isn't a mother and has never been pregnant, she has always been around children. So blah, blah, blah. So we'll just go ahead and hear from Mr. Taylor. Miss Taylor. Sorry.
Hey,
So,
man, hey, shit.
Freudian slip. So here is Joy Taylor basically saying that if it was men dealing with this, it wouldn't really be that much of an issue, this whole abortion stuff.
I think in all the conversations that we have about pro-life, about abortion, about maternal mortality rates, about trad wives, about this gender war, about the dropping birth rate, everything is just broad strokes as if it is just this thing that everyone can do and everyone should just embrace it and it's easy and you figure it out and you owe it to society to make children. Like, get the fuck out of here. I have been around children my entire life.
Whoa.
I am not a mother. I have not been pregnant. I know how hard it is to do that because I have eyeballs, because I have the ability to see someone else experience something and be able to apply what that experience would be for my life. I respect those struggles. And that is why I hold it in such a high regard. And it's just, if I could have one wish for the world, it would be that men and women could get pregnant. Because if men and women could be pregnant, we would not be having these conversations. This would not be an issue. If men could get pregnant, you could get an abortion at a drive-thru. If men could get pregnant, the studies that would have been done on giving birth, you could give birth and feel absolutely nothing and recover in 3 days. The advancements that would have been done in the medical field to make childbirth as seamless, as safe, as comfortable, the recovery, all of it as perfect as possible would be light years beyond what we are right now. I think what we need to start working on, lady scientists, is figuring out how to get men pregnant. I think that's my solution. I'm always looking for society solutions, and I think that's what it is. Like, having a child is so hard. Getting pregnant and having a healthy child and healthy mother is so hard. And you can do everything right, and it can still go wrong. You can eat perfect. You can eat all the fruits. You can not have sushi. You can not have the deli meats. You can do everything perfect, and it still go wrong. There's so much to it. And then so much after that, once the baby is here. I just wish we would just have the real conversation in the way that I wish we would have real conversations about money, in the way we should have real conversations about marriage and divorce and education and getting old and menopause and perimenopause. Like, we need to have real conversations about motherhood and pregnancy and stop stroking it with this patriarchal trad wife bullshit that it's just this thing you're supposed to do. What about for the women who can't get pregnant? What about for the women who have gotten pregnant and tragically lost their child? What about for the women who have had horrific pregnancy experiences where their body has gone through full-on trauma and they are barely functioning after one child? Stop broad stroking what is an elaborate, scary experience where you're putting your life and body on the line to bring a child into this world.
Jesus. Holy cow.
Floor is yours. Floor is yours.
Hey, you taking that on a date, man? Hey, man. Hey, just talk about Patrick Mahomes from now on, man. I don't want to hear none of this stuff. That was intense. Lord have mercy. Where should I begin? Hey, listen, man. Men can't get pregnant because we're not built for it. You're right. If men would get pregnant, there would be clinics everywhere. You know what I'm saying? We'll have kits at the house. Like, we're not playing around. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly why men should not get pregnant. So we don't need to know what it feels like to be pregnant because that's not our job. That's not our job. we're constructed in a way where that is not our concern directly. Of course, if that's your woman, you want to make sure she's healthy, it's a healthy baby, healthy delivery, and all that other good stuff. Like, I ain't talking about that. That's part of the man's job. But being pregnant, carrying a baby is not. So yeah, it would be like that. You're right, Joy Taylor. It'll be better than drive-throughs if you ask me. And that's exactly why we don't do it. That's exactly why we're not capable of doing that. And the reason why, see, and this is the thing with all of this stuff, man. You know, this beating the drum about how strong women are and how this and this and that, and how we got to do this, how we got to do that. It sounds like a lot of complaining. If you are strong, which you are, a lot comes with that. A lot. You got to embrace your strength, not complain about it. Complaining about your strength is patriarchal. You sound like a man, Joy Taylor. That was real mannish. And honestly, and this is my whole thing about this whole women empowerment thing in the world, because I am here for women. I want women to actually be empowered, not this stuff where you're actually trying to be a man. I got more stuff to say on the back end, bro. I really do, man. I'm gonna let you go because I'm about to go on rants. Because I knew she went off. I only caught a little bit of this, but this whole rant here, I'm like, nah, man. We're gonna have to set some boundaries, Miss Joy Taylor. But what are your thoughts on Joy Taylor saying that if men could have reproductive rights, there'll be reproductive drive-through centers? What are your thoughts, man?
So 3 things, and I'll try to do this succinctly. So here's point number 1. This is a personal thing for her. She's gone on the record talking about how she does not want to be a mother and does not want to have children. And I guess people criticize her for having those views on the internet, which again, and I know that she is an internet personality at this point. She has a podcast, but I guess a theme of this video and a theme of almost all the videos that we've done tonight has been the importance of maintaining personal balance. You can be online and have an online audience, but it's important to understand the importance of maintaining some balance and not allowing the peanut gallery of the virtual digital fake audience to get to you. And I think when it comes to this particular issue, it's gotten to her. I think over time, she's grown increasingly more frustrated with her own peanut gallery constantly coming at her because she doesn't want to be a wife or a mother. Mm-hmm. She feels as though there's nothing wrong with her personal decision to not be a mom and to not want to get married. And here it is. She's right about that. That's her prerogative. If she doesn't want to be a mother and she doesn't want to be married, that's okay. But what she needs to understand is when you talk about that publicly, people are going to have opinions on that. You don't have to pay attention to those opinions. But if you're going to get frustrated to the point where you continuously bring it up, maybe you should just figure out better ways to not listen to it, because clearly it's something that's bothering her. So that's point number 1. Point number 2. Look, man, she's right when she talks about not everybody should have kids and there's health issues, this and this. It shouldn't be something that you should just accept as something that you should give to the world. Like, I understand, I agree with that, but not exactly in those words. Like, I believe there's too many people out here having kids who shouldn't be. Like, I do believe that. I believe that there are way too many financially irresponsible, sexually irresponsible, just generally personally irresponsible human beings who do not have the wherewithal to adequately raise children in a stable environment and these people are getting pregnant and raising kids, and they're raising them to be the next generation of people who don't contribute to society because they're not being raised with the skills necessary to be able to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So from a general standpoint of the need for people to be more responsible, to not have children when they shouldn't be otherwise, I understand that. In my opinion, there's way too many people having kids who shouldn't be. Like a lot of people are just getting pregnant willy-nilly. And it's like, maybe you should have just enforced the condom rule, because a lot of y'all shouldn't be getting pregnant. And a lot of these dudes out here shouldn't become fathers. They ain't ready to be. They don't have the maturity level. They don't have the finances to do it. They don't have the means to be able to adequately handle that level of responsibility. So in general, there are a lot of people who are having kids who, in my opinion, shouldn't be. That is a problem. So even though she didn't say it in those exact terms, the general idea about there being less people getting pregnant overall because people don't need to be getting pregnant like that, I can somewhat see, because a lot of people out here shouldn't be getting pregnant. Number 3, and this is where I will offer up some constructive criticism. And I've said this before, and it is what it is. It's my personal belief. In my opinion, between men and women, I think women are worse when it comes to understanding the fact that men and women aren't the same. I think men do a better job of being able to understand that in the world, men and women aren't constructed the same. We live different realities, and so we have to endure different experiences based upon our unique realities. Like, are we respectively human beings? And so we share in the experience of being a part of the human experience on Earth? Absolutely. But are we the same, and do we live the same realities? No. We live diametrically opposed realities. Like, if that weren't the case, then we would be born with fluid genitalia, and we would all be able to get pregnant.
Right.
But we can't. We're not the same.
Right.
And this idea about, it would be so much better. It would be easier. It would be better if men could get pregnant, because then access to abortion would be more readily available, and all of this other stuff that she talked about. Well, as a man, you know what I don't like? I don't like my value as a human being being directly tethered to my income and my money. If I could choose to live in a world in which that doesn't exist, I would take that.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to, as a man, I am uncomfortable with the fact that my value is directly tethered to how much money I make or what my income and my resources are.
Mm-hmm.
In a more fair and just world, I'd be living in a world where I can be judged off of the merit of my character and my principles and my personality and my work ethic. And that would assign my relative level of value. But we don't live in that world. We live in a world in which I have a precipitously less amount of value assigned to me if I don't make as much money as the next guy.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't have access to the same level of resources as the next guy. Guy who makes $150K a year by default has more value than me who makes $80K a year. Is that fair? No. Is it equitable? No, it's not. But that is the world as it is constructed. Do I want to wake up in a different universe where all men are judged based upon different standards, and I don't have to be looked at as less valuable by other women because I don't make as much money? Yeah, I'd love to live in that world. I'd love to be able to have access to the most beautiful women on this earth and be broke. Is that realistic? No. If I am broke, not only do I not have access to beautiful women, but I don't have access to any women.
You're like N3on out here, bro. Just being no action.
Yeah. Try being a man living in the world with no money and no resources and trying to be appealing to women. You're going to experience a very difficult time. Is that right? Is it fair? Is it equitable? No, it's none of those things. But that's just kind of how this stuff works. What do you want me to do? I can't change things. So, listen, man, her frustration is understood, because she's like, why do y'all keep judging me because I don't want to be a mom? I don't want to be a mom. Leave me alone. But number one, you invite yourself to that scrutiny because you keep talking about it publicly. And number two, this whole idea about what if things were different and men can get pregnant? Yeah, Joy Taylor, what if things could get different and you would get with me if I was broke? Am I trying to equate those two dynamics? Am I trying to equate my plight as a man who needs to be able to build things in order to be more appealing to the plight of a woman who has to endure childbirth and being a mother? No, I am not trying to make those two things equitable. But what I am trying to say is this, the door swings both ways. Just like she can say that, I can also say, well, how about we get together and I can be broke? Are you still going to view me as a man if you make more than me, or if I'm broke? Are you going to view me as masculine if I'm broke or have no money or no resources? Do you, Joy Taylor, view a man who has less money and resources than you as just as equipped to be with you, as just as appealing, as just as desirable? Because if she can tell me that, then I'll relent on her wish to want to see men pregnant. But something tells me that I doubt she sees the world in that particular light. So why should I be sympathetic towards her desire to want to see men get pregnant? I don't get this kind of stuff, man, but we continue to see this thing over and over again, these ongoing diatribes on the part of some people who just want to bitch and complain about stuff.
I'm telling you, bro.
Like, look, Joy, you don't want to be a mom, that's fine.
Right.
Just deal with it. And if you become too frustrated with the amount of scrutiny that you have to deal with because of that, then stop talking about it. Stop talking about it. Just no comment it. Move on to something else. But you keep wanting to place your flag in the sand as this defiant woman fighting back against the power structure because you are proudly someone who doesn't want to be a mom. Okay, well, the scrutiny is going to come because you keep bringing it up.
Exactly.
So miss me with this stuff, man. And she ain't the only one who does this kind of stuff. But it's like, okay, fine. You are no different than the rest of these women who get on their internet soapbox engaging in this ridiculousness where social media and the internet has become your therapist.
Right.
And you think that your reality is the only reality that exists in the world. Other people have their realities too. And as difficult as it is for you to comprehend, because I think you secretly hate men, men have their own realities as well, whether you like it or not.
Hey, well said, bro. And you touched on some stuff that I wanted to address too. So yeah, bro. And when it comes to this being her, this is her problem. That was a personal rant. Something in her, like you said, bro, it digs at her that because she doesn't have a child or doesn't want a child, that she's not viewed as a woman. I didn't say that. There's women out there that can have children, that want to have children and can't. She's not less of a woman. You know what makes you a woman? You got 2 X chromosomes. That's what makes you a woman, man. And you getting into these semantics is getting into a patriarchal worldview. You don't even know it.
That's right. Yeah.
So you got 2 X chromosomes. You ain't got nothing to prove to me. You got peanut butter skin and big rat. It's obvious you got 2 X chromosomes. I didn't say you weren't a woman. But when you get in that stance and start barking in the microphone and talking like that, you do sound like a man. It makes me question your womanhood. Because you're talking like the patriarchy, even though you're advocating, quote unquote, for women. You're not. You're advocating for more patriarchy. The irony of this whole argument. Women got 2 X chromosomes. Men got an X and a Y. The men's Y isn't a capital Y. It's a lowercase y. That means the X, that part of the X that would have made us complete, fell off. Mutated, whatever you want to call it. We ain't got it. And because we don't have that, we can't have kids. But it's not just the sexual reproduction that goes into that. There's all of that stuff that women have that men struggle with. Emotional intelligence, having a presence about them that is motherhood. It's so important to be a woman, and y'all minimize it to put on business casual stuff and walk into an office and say that you're a CEO and a business owner. You're throwing all of that precious energy away to be like a man. So all of this arguing, all of this bickering about what men got going on versus what that argument is patriarchal. I can't stress that enough. Once you embrace your womanhood and understand that what comes great power comes a lot of responsibility, things that men will never understand, you got to embody that, not kick it back out at us and start arguing. You got to embody that, all of that energy that you have. Y'all are complete. Y'all so complete, y'all can give life to another person. Y'all can nurse. Like the whole process of a woman having a baby, and immediately there's like biological stuff that fires off immediately. And it's different type of breast milk that's at the initial part of birth. Like it is so complex what women are. Biologically, it is impressive. And women don't walk around with that. And I'm not saying all women, I'm saying this whole feminist movement garbage. All of this barking and I want to be able to, and if you want to be able to trash can baby, I'm not saying that you can't do that. If you don't want kids, I'm not forcing you to do that. So everybody don't feel like that. So all these uniform things are, oh, men don't understand men. No, we don't. That's not our, and honestly, it's not our job to understand it like that. We need to understand it, but it's a cutoff point. We don't have that part of the chromosome for us to really get it. So, a real man will sit there and go, hey, I know what I don't know. You know what I'm saying? And I'm here to help you and walk you through life and here to protect you and do all of that good stuff. And so the whole thing is, man, the arguments like this is the problem, that it compounds their problems. It doesn't fix them. So Joy Taylor, I'm sorry. All right. I hate getting at her, man. I really do. But she provokes me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not forcing her to have kids. I don't think you have to if you don't want to. So I'm not part of that gallery, but I am part of the gallery that says, get it together. Stop listening to all of this garbage. Stop falling victim to the patriarchy. You are helping its case. You're sowing division. That's part of the patriarchy. You're sowing division. Breaking men and women apart is what the patriarchy wants. The sun is not doing what the moon is doing. The moon is damn sure not doing what the sun is doing. They're opposite, and they work in conjunction. Be yourself. Be the moon. Control the tides. Do your thing. Do the eclipse. Let the sun, give life. Let it do all of that stuff. Stop. The moon is not worried about trying to be like the sun, and the sun is damn sure not worried about trying to be like the moon. So men don't need to try to be like women, and women don't need to try to be like men. So yeah, Joy Taylor, I can't deal with this, man. But sure enough, you know what I'm saying? She's gonna say something again. I know she watches the show, so I'll be dying to hear her reply, man. But yeah, man, stop falling for this garbage, man. Be comfortable with what you were assigned with. So I can't say that enough.
Yeah, I mean, I just think we all experience certain aspects of our reality that are undesirable. There's no getting around it. And it is those undesirable aspects of our reality that nonetheless make up what those realities are about. You have to take the good with the bad. So all of this, I wish men could do this and I wish men could do that so that they can know what it's like to be us. We shouldn't know what it's like to be you. And nor should you know what it's like to be us. We don't live the same reality. This is silly. If you don't want to have children, then live your life and don't have children. Stop listening to people telling you that you're less of a woman if you don't want to have children. That's a you problem. Stop listening to them. Because I guarantee you it's not a single real human being telling her this in person.
Mm-hmm.
It's a chat or a comment on a post somewhere. There's nobody in her family telling her this. None of her friends are telling her this. I bet you Taylor Rooks didn't say that to her. So who is she responding to? And likewise, if there are women who do feel complete via motherhood, let them be. It is what it is.
Right.
The fact of the matter is we were all put on this earth to do certain things. And it is not to intertwine the realities. Otherwise, we would be the same thing. We would all be literally the same birthed organism.
Exactly.
And we're not. And we're not for a reason. So unless you want to live our shared realities in which you have to experience the various undesirable aspects of the way that we have to live, then stop talking about how you want us to experience some of the undesirable aspects of your reality, because the door literally swings both ways. And I find these kinds of conversations very comical because, again, like, you play into these various gender and sexual dynamics. You just want the aspects of them that you don't like and that are inconvenient to you to go away. Yep. But I guess all the rest of the stuff that benefits you want that to stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
So you still want a guy who physically dominates you. You still want a guy who financially dominates you. You still want a guy, did I say financially or physically the first time?
I think you said financially and then physically. You said both of them though.
Yeah. So like, you still want a guy to financially dominate you. You still want a guy to physically dominate you. You still want a man to sexually dominate you. Well, the various things that go into making us completely different are the very same things that allow for that to persist.
Mm-hmm.
So unless you want that to disappear, then we can start talking about men getting pregnant. This is dumb. But you don't want that stuff to go away because you like those various aspects of the differences.
Right.
So if you like, if you're okay with the various aspects of the differences that you are comfortable with or that you benefit from, although benefit can be a strong word, then you do have to take the aspects of it that make us different, that you feel are beneficial to us, but otherwise detrimental to you, and vice versa. I do not want my value and my worth as a human man to be equated to my income, but in certain respects, in many respects, it is.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a guy who walks into the room who makes more money than me and who's taller than me, the rest of the world views that guy as more valuable than me. Do I like that? Am I happy with that? No, but that's the way this stuff goes, man. That's the way this stuff goes. You just got to roll with the punches.
Gotta roll with it. Roll with it, Joy.
Yeah, you mostly hear women doing this. If I'm being completely honest, you mostly hear women lamenting the differences and how there needs to be certain things that should be the same for more understanding. No, there shouldn't. No, there shouldn't. The differences need to remain as such.
Well said, man. And shout out to Joy Taylor. I know I got at you, man, but you still got peanut butter skin. And shout out to Jason Taylor too, man. Go Canes, bro. I ain't trying to talk about your sister, bro, but she be getting on the internet going crazy, man. But go Canes, go Dolphins, go Joy Taylor, man. But get that worldview together, man. That was outstanding rhetoric right there.
Yeah, that was outlandish. That's what that was.
Outlandish.
Yeah, that was out of pocket, man. That was completely out of pocket.
Oh Lord. Out of pocket, bro.
Whoa. That's all I can say for this is whoa. So DJ Vlad, on his show, if you want to call this thing a show, he featured Sophie Rain. Sophie Rain, she's the 21-year-old OnlyFans sensation. She claims to have made $90 million in 2023 or 2024. There was one year where she claims to have made close to $100 million. She makes buku money on OnlyFans, right? She's huge and she's a hot ticket item. Speaking of women accessorizing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's on Vladimir's show and they got into the fact that Sophie Rain claims that an anonymous NBA player, anonymous because she won't reveal who he is, offered her $15 million to take her virginity. She claims that she's a virgin still. And she talked about how she turned it down because she's not going to do that kind of stuff. She doesn't do meetups. She doesn't smash. She's not essentially a high-priced escort. And Vladimir was like, if it were me, I'd let an NBA player take my booty hole for $15 million. So that is the subject of this video. This says DJ Vlad says he'll take $15 million offer. Sophie Rain declined from NBA player, offers his anal virginity. DJ Vlad recently sat down for an interview with OnlyFans content creator Sophie Rain, and he made a suggestion that he was willing to take the alleged $15 million offer from an NBA player that she turned down. In a portion of the interview, which is available here behind the paywall, Rain said that she's still a virgin despite looking for a partner. I just can't find someone that makes me happy, someone that I want to spend the rest of my life with. No. She shared, when asked if she was lying about whether she's a virgin, perhaps to garner more interest from men, Rain dismissed the speculation and maintained that people can believe what they want. Well, you said an NBA player offered you $15 million for your virginity. Yes, that is true. This is true, she replied. But obviously, I'm not doing that. When asked if she could reveal what team the apparent NBA star plays for, Rain declined and said that she's not interested in fanning the flames. Well, listen, if you're passing, I'll take that offer. Vlad laughed. I mean, that's money. That's money right there. If he wants to take my anal virginity for $15 million, he can have it. I'll do it for 10, actually.
What?
Rain, who has made her name as a devout Christian producing explicit content for OnlyFans and other platforms, recently claimed that she received a text from an NBA player asking if they could take her virginity for $15 million. Someone last week offered me $15 million to take my V card. No, I obviously have morals. She has continually responded to individuals online, questioning if she's really a virgin, tweeting in December last year, why is it so shocking to people that I'm a virgin? She has also claimed that she made as much as $52 million off of OnlyFans in 2025. So, yeah, I mean, that's not her highest earning year. Her highest earning year was either 24 or 23 when she claims to have made close to 100 million. She even tweeted a screenshot of the receipt. It was like 80 or 90 million, something like that.
Jesus, bro.
Yeah. So there you go, man. Floor is yours. That's your boy. This is your boy, man.
That's not my boy, man. I don't associate with this, man. I don't know what's going on with this dude. So, and by the way, brilliant marketing strategy from this Sophie Rain girl. Now this has become a whole thing, Is she one? Is she not? You know what I'm saying? People trying to pay top dollar to get it. I mean, it's a good business model, man. This girl knows what she's doing, man. But yeah, over to Vladimir. Over to Vlad, bro. Like what you talking about, bro? Like to even have that thought cross your mind, bro. To say it out loud, to edit the video, to air it, to double down and said, hell, I'll do it for 10 million. Nah, bruh. And he said, you heard he said 10. He didn't say 10 million. Bro, he'll do that for $10 at this point, bruh. I'm fully convinced, bruh. And he's sitting there talking about virginity. I don't think it's a virginity dealing with Vlad. He was too quick to give that up. Like, what are we talking about here? So, just Vlad, again, just exposing himself for the type of person that he is. Somebody that will sell his booty hole, figuratively and literally, So I'm not surprised. Now, when I saw this article, I was like, this is a crazy headline right here. Let me cross-validate this. So I'm sitting there reading it. I'm like, wait, is he talking about her anal or is it he's talking about his? He's talking about himself. So yeah, man, Vlad again. It must be getting dry over there at at DJ Vlad's channel for him to be saying such outlandish things, but are we really surprised? It's just an outrageous statement to make. But what are your thoughts, man, on DJ Vlad saying that he'll give up his box for $10 million? Hell, man, he'll probably do it for $1. What are your thoughts, man?
To be honest with you, I'm not even going to address Vlad.
Okay.
That's a crazy, wild thing to say. It requires no further explanation or dissection. I'll leave that up to you, because that's Vlad, man. Friend of the channel for better or for worse, because we have talked about him several times at this point. But that's Vlad. The grifting vulture that he is. Why wouldn't he be willing to grift his own booty hole? Like if Vlad is so readily willing to grift culture, to be a grifter for hip hop culture and black culture, why wouldn't he be so readily available to grift his own anus?
That's fair.
He is a grifter by nature, and I would imagine people who are grifters by nature are willing to grift more things than one.
Yeah,
so,
fair take.
I am more so going to focus on this NBA player who offered this girl $15 million.
Fair enough.
We need to find out who this guy is. This stuff needs to start getting called out. We just got finished talking about Steve Harvey talking about the value of being a gentleman with men.
Mm-hmm.
And my overall point was, how can you even go so far as to talk about this kind of stuff when we have a persistent culture through our society, which is subconsciously imparting upon men that their relationship to women is through accessorizing. You're merely going to a venue to purchase them. And so they are a good and a service that you are purchasing, nothing more, nothing less. And when you become dissatisfied with that purchase, you are going to act accordingly with venting your frustration over that dissatisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
Here is this anonymous NBA player. This has to be a max deal guy. Like, you got to be a max deal guy, okay?
Yeah, you got to have at least 15 mil.
Yes, because you have to be $15 million liquid to be able to say, oh, I'll drop this on you just to take your virginity. So this has to be a max deal guy who's
That's
doing
such a
it.
ridiculous thing to say, bro.
We need to find out who this guy is. This is a poster child for what's going on out here.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of these guys who's so out of his mind that he accessorizes women to the extent that he's willing to pay $15 million to do it. What are we doing here, guys? I'm blue in the face at this point, talking about how problematic this is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe for a single second that this is an exaggeration. I think that girl is telling the truth.
No, I believe
there is a dude in the league who offered to pay her $15 million to take her virginity. I find that incomprehensible.
It was LaMelo Ball.
Or Zion. I'm thinking Zion.
If Zion need to get himself together, if it was him. But go ahead, man. My bad.
LaMelo
just popped up. I was like,
yeah.
Oh.
My guess is Zion. That's my guess, but it could be. There's a couple of others. We should put a list together. We should put a list together. But this stuff is so disgusting. Like the fact that actually is something that happened, I find so disgusting. And we are talking about this imbalance. This girl literally believes, right, that she is inherently valuable to the world merely because she exists. And as regurgitating of a notion as I find that to be, she is nevertheless redeemed for believing that through behavior like this.
Mm-hmm.
There's some bozo effeminate dude who wanted to pay this sex working thought pocket box of a girl $15 million to take her virginity. And that person and that dude, whoever this guy is, was dead serious.
Yeah, I think he was. I mean, I'm pretty sure he just threw it out there You know what I'm saying? To see if she'll catch it. But if she said yeah, I think he would have did it.
Yes, no, he would have done it. No, the only reason why it didn't go down is because she said no.
Yeah.
He would have done it. He was ready. He was ready to wire it. He had the earnest money deposit ready to go. He was on the phone with his accountant, like, get ready to wire this money. She said no. This is disgusting, man. This is why men don't know their value. That's why men don't know their value, because you can be somebody who can afford $15 million for a woman and you're willing to pay it because you don't know that because you've built up a cachet for yourself, that you have that much money that you're sitting on, that she should want to sleep with you for free because of who you are and what your profile is. Even though she's a OnlyFans thought pocket box of a girl, she should feel privileged to be with a guy who's an NBA player who can afford to pay $15 million at one moment for anything. But because of this backwards weirdo world that we live in, she feels like she's superior to that guy because she can turn his $15 million down. How ridiculous is that? That is so ass backwards. Bro, I'm done, man. I'm done. I'm so frustrated with this stuff, bro. I really am. I'm frustrated with this because you can approximate this. How many regular girls? Who's the girl who follows Sophie Rain on OnlyFans? Not on OnlyFans, but there's some girl somewhere who works at Macy's, but she follows Sophie Rain on Instagram, and she knows that Sophie Rain got offered $15 million by an NBA player to sleep with her, to smash. What's to stop the girl who works at Macy's from thinking that she can get $10,000 from a guy just to smash? There's an approximation of that somewhere, especially if she looks good, if she's attractive. What's stopping her from thinking that? And you have the more women that you have indulging in this form of thinking, it's no secret that things are out of whack the way they are. It's not rocket science. This is not calculus. This is basic arithmetic. It don't take a rocket science to figure out why this stuff is so jacked up. So that's the part about this that I find the most egregious. Vlad is whatever. Vlad is a weirdo. He's gonna do weirdo things. He's gonna say weirdo things. But $15 million to take some OnlyFans girl's virginity. I find that to be incredibly reprehensible. I do, in my opinion. But of course, this is the way of the world. Things are not going to stop. This is the height of transactional relationships. And this is what we have going on. Women have just noticed it, and they are now full on accessorizing themselves. And men are going to the grocery store and they're paying for groceries. Just don't get shocked when those guys get dissatisfied with those groceries and treat that dissatisfaction accordingly.
Yeah, this is a good, as I said, this is a good marketing thing for her in the sense that A, it's just general traffic, and B, she's just driving up the value of her box.
Yeah, it's an auction. Yeah,
it's an auction. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, I'm just letting y'all know somebody's trying to give me 15 mil, and I said no. Here comes 17, here comes 18. You know what I'm saying? Like this is she's trying to get for the highest bidder. 100%. So she can play this I'm a Christian thing. That's part of her whole persona. Yeah. I mean, look at this picture, man. She's supposed to be some innocent little girl. Like that's her whole angle. So of course she's Christian and she's not busting it completely wide open on her stuff. So that she's classy with it and she's innocent and that's how the thing goes. And she's a virgin. Great business model. So she can drag this out for the next 3-4 years if she wants to, man. You know what I'm saying? It's only driving up the market price. So yeah, man, it's a wild scenario, bro. I do believe her that somebody said that. I do believe people have offered her M's for that in particular. Why do they want to do that? I have no idea. I have no idea, bro. Like we just talked. Was that last time we talked? We were talking about Adrian Bronner, and he was talking about giving a girl 80 bands just for the prospect of smashing.
Mhm.
And I'm like, ain't no box. I don't care what's coming out of that thing, bro. Fireworks. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what's happening. It's like, hey, bro, it'll change your life. Not that much. Not 80,000 more. Like, no way. So I don't know. There's nothing when it comes to anything sexual is worth $15 million. But I'm telling you right now, somebody gonna pay that. So this is a wild matrix, man. This is a wild matrix, bro. But hey, what can we do, man? Besides you know what I'm saying? Get off the grid, bro. Get off the grid. Yeah, get off the grid, man. Get out of this. It's only getting worse. It's only getting worse. It's every week, bro. Every topic, every time we do these topics, it's like a decline, bro. It is a decline. It's gotten to the point where the male host said he'll give up his booty at this point. You know, on air. Why not?
Why not? That's right.
Why not, man? It's only going to get worse from here, y'all. So just get off the grid. Save yourselves. Because I'm telling you, these people are in the world with you. You know what I'm saying? Interacting with y'all. These are the people that be in the pool. You know what I'm saying? So just get out. Just get off the grid, man, and head for cover, bro. Because the apocalypse is coming. Clearly, man. Because these people is out of their minds. But hey, man, shout out to all of my non OF subscribers, man. You know what I'm saying? Holding it down out there, man. You ain't never had no account. Or if you did have one and you canceled it, man, shout out to you too, man.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, man, because it's never too late. You know, so get off the juice. And goddamn, Vlad, you never cease to amaze me, man.
I think that is disgusting. So it's not Steph. Steph. It ain't him. It ain't Embiid, Jokic. I don't think it's any of those guys.
Not even you're close to Jokic.
I don't think it would be Giannis, Jimmy Butler. Butler.
You never know, man. Jimmy's a little quirky, man.
He is, man. He is. Anthony Davis, Jason Tatum, Devin Booker, Jaylen Brown, Karl Anthony Towns. I'm just reading off the highest salaries here. But I mean, it's just, listen, I'm just curious. I really hope one day we learn who it was that made that offer. SGA, Bam. I don't think it's any of them. These guys do square business. Cade Cunningham. I don't think it's any of them. It has to be one of these undisciplined ass people like
that's
Zion.
why I said LaMelo Ball.
LaMelo Ball or Zion. Like, I would have said James Harden years ago, but he kind of cleaned up his act a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. For the life of me, I'll never understand it. I won't. And a naysayer will say, "Well, you ain't them. You don't live their life. You don't make their money."
I don't give a damn.
I don't want to hear that,
bro. I don't care. Listen, bro. I can have Bezos money.
Yeah.
I'm not spending $15 million on none of that.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Are you serious?
And if it was about if it was about the position and the salary and the money, all of them would be doing it. All NBA players aren't doing that. All NFL players aren't doing that. It's just the ones who are on that BS who are doing it. It ain't everybody. So you can miss me with that ridiculous logic.
Yeah, man. Get out of here.
Oh, that's crazy. I have no shout outs for that. I have no shout outs, and I have a million zillion lashes for whoever that dude was who offered for that $15 million. Ridiculous.
Damn.
All right, man. I'm done. That just I gotta go take a shower after that. I'm gross thinking about that. I'm grossed out just thinking about that. But we are out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Check me out on Instagram at JVWins, JVWINS. Check out the channel on Instagram and TikTok at ConApproach, CONAPPROACH. Subscribe to the podcast, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And until next time, don't be a group thinker. Have a mind of your own. Think for yourself. And please, for the love of God, do not offer one of these thoughts $15 million to steal their virginity or for any box at all. Invest that money as seed money. Go buy a house. Go buy some land. Go buy some property. They should be paying you if you're worth that much.
Thank you. Hey, man. And the name is Dogon SS, by the way. And you can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS, on YouTube, MySpace, DraftKings, Meta, Facebook, Twitter, X. Hey, man, there's a social media platform out there. Dogon_SS is also out there. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow, and all that good jazz. And as JV Wynn said, we greatly appreciate you all for watching, liking, consciously leaving comments, sharing the videos. All right, because you just can't keep this for yourself. You heard all them jewels we dropping. All right, so share it with your community. We'll greatly appreciate that. And don't be too high, don't be too low, neither. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it player. And don't let anybody get you off your pivot. So until next week, ladies and gentlemen, this is Dogon SS, and I still got more rings than Robert Ory. And we'll see y'all next week.
Could have been John Morant too. Could have been John Morant.
A little reckless behavior from John. Hey, John, we done seen you, bro. I know what you up to, dog. Hey, that was a good pull, bro.
All right, y'all. We out of here, man. Until next time. Peace.
Man, go Canes, bro. You see it? This our year.
15 million. Good Lord.
15M.